Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this live workshop. I am Daya Samuel, and today we are looking at how to significantly increase leads and revenue with YouTube and podcast. And what I'm going to be doing in this particular session is to take you through the new trend that is rising, particularly with the combination of YouTube and podcasts. And if this is something you're looking for, then you are in the right place. Well, to quickly give you a little idea of what is going to come in this particular session, or let me say it this way, who is this session for? Well, this session is for you if you are just getting started, especially with YouTube and podcast, and you don't know what to do. This session is for you if you have actually started and you're trying to grow, particularly to try to see how you are going to use YouTube and podcast to bring leads and revenue back to your business. And number three, this is for you if you have already grown and you want to scale and you want to take what you're doing to the next level. And number four, this is for you if you practically have no idea of what to do, or maybe you have gone to that level where you are like, okay, I've seen all, done all. So what's next? Well, this session is going to open your eyes to some of the new things that you can do using YouTube and podcast. Again, I am Dio Samuel, and we are going to have a fantastic session today. So let's jump right in. I want to begin this session with a quick video. And so let me pick my video. I want this session to actually start with a very interesting video that I saw recently. Actually, I saw it some years back. And ever since I saw it, it's kind of given me a couple of things to think about. So let's go. Here's to another shitty day, Mr. Entrepreneur, Mr. Future Millionaire. What is wrong with you? You wake up every single day this negative. What a great day, Dude, you want a beer? It's 7 o'clock in the morning. So what, man? That's the best time of the day to drink. And it's a lot cheaper. You know, there was a study done once saying it's 50% cheaper to drink in the morning than in the afternoon. Just trying to save you some money. Oh, yeah? Who did that study? It was an extensive study done by Purple. Great selection of reasons. You know, it really is. I learned so much from them. The content is really good. Different positions, different pickup lines. You should subscribe. It's very good. Yeah, I'll pass. What else? It's up to you. Sir. Thank you. That is music to my ears. Wait a minute. Are we really going to listen to this? No Kanye West. We have to sit here and listen to this Tim Robbins guy? It's Tony Robbins. Tim Robbins is an actor. Whatever. Tony Tim is the same guy. It's the same dude that gets up and says, personal power. Live with passion. Get the edge. Have you ever thought about why this guy's so excited? He's excited because people pay $200 to listen to this crap. I'll be excited too. I find you so entertaining on some of the stuff you say. Pat, you do not have to listen to what he's telling you. Sometimes the life of an entrepreneur is filled with a lot of people that tell you things that make no sense. He's definitely one of them. Just ignore him. Are you kidding me? Don't really have to sit here and listen to your bullshit you feed them. Listen, every single entrepreneur that became wealthy comes from a family that had millions of dollars to back him up. You think he's got money to back him up and go out there and become successful? Stop feeding him this kind of crap, man. He's working way too hard. You guys working 80 hours a week. He should be staying home and relaxing. That's way too much work for him. Oh, yeah?
a red Ferrari. What are you looking at? You drive a red Ferrari in the first place. Drive off. It's actually a pretty nice Ferrari he's got. You know what we should do? You know the girl we met this past weekend? What was her name? Rachel? Roxy. We should call Roxy right now. That's what we should do. We don't need to do that, Pat. You got bigger and better things to do right now. Let's just stay focused. Just stop already, man. Stop. Man, what happened to Pops when he started a business? He failed. What happened to Mom and Dad? They got a divorce. What happened to us? We lived 6 different places. Was it fun? Hell no, it wasn't fun. What happened in high school to you? Did you play baseball? Did you play high school basketball? Did you get picked up for football? Did you date the girl you like? What was your GPA? Who were you in high school? Who were you afterwards? What makes you think you're going to make it in life? Man, you got to stop selling this stuff to this guy, man. Stop it. It's getting old. Go get that job that you let go of paying you $12 an hour and part-time get a degree. Stop taking these damn risks. We're not meant to do something big with our lives. Simple as that. Are we done? I'm done. I'm good. Okay, good. Pat, I want you to know this voice is never going away. This voice is always going to be there. No matter how much money you're going to make, it's always going to be there. The great thing about it is, though, every morning you wake up, you have a choice on which voice to listen to. But I want you to think about a completely different thing right now. Let's just say you do nothing. Let's just say you buy into your fears. Let's just say you buy into every single thing you're worried about. Let's just say you don't make any decisions to go after your dreams. Fast forward 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 40 years from now. Let's just say your funeral's around the corner. You have 50 people there, 100 people there, maybe 200 people show up. These are your friends, family, and people that love you. So you'll be loved for 1 generation, remembered for 2 generations, and forgotten after that. Is that truly the life you want to live? Is that really what you want to do? I don't know if that's the life you really want to live. You see, what I've noticed is no matter what you ever do, you'll have a lot of lonely times. You can lie to your family, you can lie to your friends, you can fool the world into realizing that why you didn't win was because of some challenge that you had to face. But there's one person you can never lie to, and that is the man in the mirror. You can never lie to the man in the mirror, never. For the rest of your life, the man in the mirror is going to look back at you and say, you did not choose to go after your dreams. And you have to be okay with that. Now, what I would like to encourage you to do is to make the right choice. I encourage you to face your fears and pursue your dreams. Go pursue the dreams that matter the most to you. You only got one shot at this thing here. And if it works out, man, it's going to feel so good for you. And if it doesn't, at least you have the courage to make that decision. I hope you make the right choice. I trust you will.
Welcome back. Good to be back. So today I wanted us to kick off with that conversation about the good voice and the bad voice that typically goes on in our heads as entrepreneurs, as people who are in business. Oftentimes we get into a conversation with ourselves and there's this noise going on at the back of our heads. And a lot of times this noise can be polarizing. It can give you good ideas as well as share with you bad ideas. But the interesting thing is that the voice will continue to live with you until you begin to learn how to handle that voice. And so, major reason why I shared this with you is to help you understand that there may have been plenty voices that have kind of shut you down, kind of told you that some things are not going to work, or maybe even the voice is coming from inside of yourself. My goal here today is to help you understand that there can be new voices that you can begin to listen to. In fact, you can begin to become your own personal new voice. And so let's get to I understand that. So as we go on in this particular session, now this is going to be a kind of free session. And by free session, I mean it's not going to be scripted. It's not going to be like it has to go a particular way. So please be free, relax yourself. If you are in Nigeria like I am, today is public holiday. So it means that you can literally just sit down, cross your leg, and we will jump into this training for today. So that's the first thing I want us to talk about. So if you are here right now, please say yes that you're here in the comments. Okay, yes, I can see that. Chegun Akyode is here. Says, yeah, I am in. I can see Daya Samuel. I can see Tolusha right now. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to have you here. So I'm going to kick off this particular training right now in the next few seconds. I'm going to kick off the training. But at this point, if you have questions that you would like for me to answer, please don't hesitate to drop them in the comments section as I go on. This is going to really, really be an interesting conversation. And I'm not going to hold anything back. Of course, this particular session is the first part. The second session is going to happen by Monday. And you know, the interesting thing is that today's session is going to lay the foundation for what's going to come on Monday. By the time we are coming on Monday, we are going to be working out, writing out, creating plans, creating strategies, and all that. So today, we want to lay the foundation for that, which is to come on Monday. So if you are just joining me right now, leave a comment down below. Let me know that you are here right now. Leave a comment right now. Let me know that you are here with me. Leave a comment right now. Let me know that you are live with me. So I can see that Tommy Singh is live. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. As well, I'm noticing that my video is kind of blurry. So if the video is blurry, please kindly let me know so that I can quickly correct that, even though I don't know what to correct though. But hopefully we are going to have a great time here. So I just corrected my video. I just dropped the quality to see if it's going to be better on the stream. Oh, so the video is actually fine there. Oh, interesting. And by fine from me, on my own side, by fine, I'm referring to it's kind of blurry. That's what I mean. Not like, so that's what I meant by being fine. But since you say it's fine there, that's okay. Let me jack it back up then. So let me jack it back up then. So that probably may be my network. Okay, good. Thank you. It may be network. That's true. Okay, so let's get this conversation started. Right now, let's talk about why we are here. Let's talk about why we are here, which is how to significantly increase revenue, how to significantly increase leads and revenue using YouTube and podcasts without fancy equipment, without paid ads, or keeping up with the hustle. Now, the reason why I'm doing this, the first reason why I'm doing this is because some time ago I did a training, a YouTube training, and that training kind of gave me a lot of things to do. It kind of became very, very overwhelming. I mean, there were a lot of things for me to do. And so when I began my own personal channel back in January of 2019, I'm actually going to show you. In fact, I'm going to be showing you some of the things on my own screen here so that you can see how these things work. Now, when I started off my own channel, I tried to do all of those things that I was told. I took some courses, I took some classes in order to understand YouTube. Of course, that was the same thing I did when I was starting podcast back then in 2013, 2014. What I found was there were too many things for me to concentrate on. And so that created a lot of hustle culture. So I will struggle every day in order to quickly produce video, in order to do this, in order to generate content, in order to do that. But I went back to my default mode. And by default mode, I mean I went back to my usual style of creating content, my usual style of pushing out new ideas. And I simply formatted that to meet up with the new demand that is placed on me, which is creating videos every week on YouTube. And now, note that I run two channels. Audacity2Lead is one channel. I have a personal channel that I run as well, and the two of them are totally different. What that gave, the idea that gave me was that not too many people can do that. And in fact, personally, I don't recommend running two channels. The only reason why you can do two channels is basically if you are doing two opposing things. But with what you are going to learn in this session and with the session that's going to come on Monday, you are going to see that you can create a single channel that accommodates all the expressions that you want to have. So I began to explore all of these things and I found that it's not working for me. And so when I went back to how I know best to do it, that was when I took out the hustle culture. And so now with what I do, I can simply sit down, create a video, and the video will still keep audience watching. The video will generate views. The videos will generate leads. In fact, talking about leads, I've had to, in my own personal channel, because of the way I set it up, I get to speak with people who watch my video almost every week. I get to speak with them via Zoom almost every week. And when I say speak with them, I'm saying in a personal one-on-one conversation every week. And with that, some of them go on to enroll in some of my programs. Some of them, of course, I help them on that instant and then let them go. I'm going to be sharing with you how I've been able to do that today and on Monday. So let's continue this conversation here. So how to significantly increase leads and revenue with YouTube and podcasts without fancy equipment or paid ads or keeping up with the hustle. Now, this training, this live workshop has been brought to you by YouTube and Podcast Profits Bootcamp, which is a training that shares with you, helps you create automated leads and revenue for your business while building your brand using video podcasts. Now, let's get this session started. I'm going to still tell you more about YouTube and Podcast Profit Bootcamp as we go on. I'm going to tell you more about that. But right now, let's get into the main reason why we are here today. Now, before we continue, if you are here live with me right now, say yes in the comments right now. Say yes right now. Type something in the comment. Let me know that you are still here right now. This is not going to be Netflix and chill. You are actually going to be fully engaged. So type something in the comments right now. Let me know that you are here with me. So let me know that you are here with me. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So I'm checking here, as well as checking on my system as well. So while I'm waiting for you, let's move forward. Now, I want you to cast your mind back to 2004. 2004 should be about 16 years ago or 17 years ago, thereabouts. Now, if you cast your mind back to 2004, what was going on in 2004? Okay, Shegun says, yes, I am here. Very good. Now, if you cast your mind back to 2004, what was going on around the world in 2004? What was going on online in 2004? Well, let me give you a few pointers. Number one, here in Nigeria, we are just transitioned from military government to civilian, with the incoming president being General Olusegun Obasanjo, who removed General from his name and became President Olusegun Obasanjo. And interestingly, today here in Nigeria, today happens to be what? Democracy Day, June 12th, which makes it very, very interesting. So we are kind of honoring Nigeria today, right? Now, in 2004, TV, radio, and newspapers were the main media channels. As 2004, $1 was about 136 naira in Nigeria. In 2004, Facebook was founded. In 2005, YouTube was founded just 1 year after 2004. And then LinkedIn was also launched in 2005. Blogs were just rising at that point. And in 2003, Google acquired Blogger, which is what became Blogspot. And lastly, April of 2004, Gmail was launched. Now, the question becomes, between 2004 and now, what are the many other things that have happened? Well, in 2004, some of the things that happened, especially with online, have kind of revolutionized how we live and work and play online today. Interestingly, YouTube happens to be one of those things that occurred that time. And when YouTube started, it became a rave. It became something that everybody began to look to. In fact, it took about 3-4 years before YouTube really gained ground. I remember watching a story recently, and the story said that in order for YouTube to actually start, the three guys who founded YouTube were looking for a way to share. The YouTube originally started as a dating app, so it was supposed to be where you go upload your video in order to find a date. So it was called something tune, something or dating. There was tune something dating. The logo looked so much like YouTube, but it was not YouTube then. But it wasn't working, and so somebody decided, wait, okay, Janet Jackson had a wardrobe malfunction while performing live, and one of the guys had recorded it. And so he wanted to upload it online, and there was no place he could upload it. So he was like, so if there's no place to upload, could that be that there's a problem that needs to be solved? And so they quickly repackaged that dating website. They quickly changed it to a video streaming website, to a video sharing platform. And that was how they uploaded that video. And you know, the interesting thing, the video went on and gained a lot of views, and gradually they began to work on, okay, rather than make this a dating app, a dating website where people upload video, let's begin to work on making it a video channel. And today YouTube is where it is today. And for your information, YouTube happens to be the second biggest search engine online right now. With YouTube being the second biggest search engine, what does that suggest to you? It means if you have your business on YouTube, if you organize yourself well and your business is on YouTube, it means you have the opportunity to be discovered by billions, millions, thousands, hundreds, tens of people, right? Now, let me get back to that. Now, here was I in 2013, 2014. I was tinkering with tech and trying to figure out, is there a way we can create podcasts without spending plenty money? Is there a way we can do some of these things without having to go through a lot of wahala, particularly here in Nigeria where we don't have access to, then we did not have access to a lot of things. In order to get to have access to some things, then you had to pay plenty money. And so back in 2013, 2014, I was still trying to get started with podcasts. So I was figuring out how things go. And I remember this day I was sitting down working with Audacity. And you can see that this was the mic that I was using. This mic was sold for just 1,500 naira. And I bought it at the street junction of my office then. Between 2015, after starting this podcast, I started my own podcast by 2014, June 2014 specifically. In fact, the date is specifically June 21, 2014. I didn't track my podcast up until I think maybe late 2015 or early 2016. That was when I began to track my podcast. And when I tracked it between that time and today, my podcast between 2016 or maybe I think 2016, late 2015 to 2016 till now, my podcast has been downloaded 27,822 times. Now, I'm imagining if I'd started tracking it long enough, what would it have looked like today? And for your information, this is the last time I released a single episode of Audacity2Lead podcast. That was January 24th, 2017. And between that time, and you know, of course, when you release a podcast, what usually happens is you do the first buzz for people to go and listen. Apart from that, I didn't promote again. Between then and now, people still keep finding the podcast. And since January 2017 up to now, the podcast has been downloaded 3,000 times. And there are several other podcasts as well. This one is 1,000, this one is 1,000. Now, I'm sharing that in order to let you know that if 3,000 people could have listened to something I have to say, imagine if that happened to be 3,000 people who specifically listened to something you have to say and decided to do business with you. Out of those 3,000 people, imagine, even if it's just 20%, which is about 60, 10% of 3,000 is 300, right? Okay, so let's just say 1% of the 3,000, that which is just 30. If 30 people could join or could become part of your business, imagine the kind of revenue you can be generating. And that's just with podcasts. Between January last year and now, having started a YouTube channel myself, or having taken YouTube seriously myself, I've seen a kind of shift. And I'm going to share that with you. Shagun is laughing at me right now, saying 1-5. Great. Going. Funsho, thank you very much for joining us. Um, um, Becky says, yes, I remember the podcast then. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Imagine if I had kept going on with that podcast between 2017 and now. Actually, why did I stop doing the podcast then? The main reason was because my attention shifted. I had just gotten married and I didn't want to place all the demands of bachelorhood, all the hustle of bachelorhood. I didn't want to bring it into marriage for the first. So that's the reason why I stopped. And of course, I had gone into training to become a therapist, to become a coach. And so all of that were going on. So even though I was not releasing podcasts, I was still undergoing a lot of training. Good. So now moving forward from there, recently, and in fact, if you go on Google right now and type Nigerian podcaster, Audacity2Lead will show up as one of the podcasts available on Google Podcasts. And between then and now, I've had the opportunity to be in some special places, in some very, very privileged places. One of them is MTN Digital Content Creation Conference, which I was one of the speakers, along with Tokwe Alake. I've forgotten the name of this man. Anytime I try to remember his name, he always keeps my head. This is Ajebo here, Ajebo, a comedian. This is a movie producer here, and this is also a movie producer, and these are MTN staff. And there was a particular section created specifically for me to teach a group of MTN content creators podcasting. Now, this would not have been possible if I didn't take up that. If I didn't take up that opportunity I saw then back in 2014. Actually, let me tell you a little story here. The first time I discovered podcast, I was reading this book. The first time I discovered podcast, I was reading this book. I wish this thing can. Okay, it seems not to be clear right now. That's very interesting. Let me do a little adjustment. So the first time let me see if there's a way I can make this clearer. Okay, good. So you can see this is that of the book. This was the book I was reading when I discovered podcast then. Okay, so I'm doing a little mixing right here. Now, when I discovered podcast, I was reading that book and saw someone's name, and I decided that, oh, really? Let me go find out about this guy. And I typed his name on Google. The place I landed on happens to be his podcast. And so I was like, oh, wait, there's an audio on this website. So I clicked play. I was using a phone then, so I clicked play. And then the moment I clicked play, I heard, this is your life. So I was like, okay. And then after I finished, the guy started talking, and I sat down there glued to my phone for the next 30 to 40 minutes or so. And I was like, wow, if this is possible, is this something I can do? And that was what got me to embark on the journey of podcast. And between then and now, I have seen and read and learned so many things. But imagine if I didn't take up that decision of saying, okay, if somebody else could have done it, I should be able to do it as well. That decision of going, well, it was a rabbit hole at first anyway, because I was practically consuming everything I could find. And with that, I got into podcasts, and look at me today. Look at where I've come today. Today, I have had the privilege of leading a movement called Nigeria Podcast Network with a group of 4.7K, almost 5,000 members. But it all started from me being able to understand that there was a shift happening. So even though I saw everything that had happened in the past, over the space of 10 years between 2000 and 2010, I saw a radical shift happen with the emergence of internet. particularly with the emergence of social media. Now, it was between 2000 and you remember I showed you earlier on that it was 2004 or 2005 that Facebook was started, and that means that Facebook is about how many years now? That should be about be 15 to 20 years right now. Gmail, YouTube, all of that started from 2004 onwards. And here was I in 2014. I had seen that there had been 10-year consistency. So if this 10 year had gone by, and by the way, the first time I jumped into doing things online was in 2004. That should be 2004, 2005. I remember then when Google acquired Blogger, I had to jump on Blogger and created plenty blogspot websites, and I was trying to make money online. And so I created 8 different blogspots, and I was sitting down. Then I was a student in the university, so I would sit down in the school cafe and try to click on my own website so that I can make money from AdSense. Until one day, they sent me an email that you've been permanently banned from AdSense. And that was the last time I thought of AdSense. But with YouTube today, AdSense has taken a different shape. This time around, you don't need to sit down and continuously click on links. There's a way that AdSense now works. And so as we go on, I'm going to share all of this with you. I published the video some days ago. That should be about yesterday. And in that video, I was talking about the shift that is happening with old media versus new media. If you cast your mind back right now, you realize that some years ago, in order for you to send an email, in order for you to send a message, a written message to somebody, you needed to go through maybe post office, write a letter, find somebody to help you deliver it. Even though some people still do that in Nigeria today, they will write something or package something and then they will put it in a bus. The bus will carry it to the person will be called, the person will physically come and collect it and all that. That is still old method. But today, email has taken over that. Now, interestingly, if you consider it again, you notice that before now, in order for you to physically meet somebody, you needed to be in a networking event. Today, with Facebook and several other social media available, you don't need to physically see somebody in order to interact with them, in order to meet someone, to know someone. In fact, if you check right now, you will realize that there are a number of persons that you have probably never met physically before, but you know them. And the reason why you know them is because you know them online. Am I correct? If that is correct, say correct in the comments. Say correct right now. Type correct in the comments right now. If you're wondering what is this guy doing right now, well, you'll soon find out. I'm connecting my drawing tablet so that I can easily draw on my screen. Okay, now moving forward from there, some years ago, in order for you to show yourself on TV, in order for you to show yourself to appear, in order for you to be seen by multiple people at the same time, what you needed to do then was to get on TV. Even though that still works today, especially if you are trying to reach a local audience, TV is a great tool to use. But today, YouTube can also do that customization to a local content. In fact, let me show you how that works right now. Let me show you how YouTube does that today. So I'm going to share. Let me open up YouTube here so that you can see what I'm saying. And you're going to see how YouTube does that. So I'm going to click here, remove from stream, and then I'm going to click. So hold on, let me open up my browser here so that you can see my browser here. Okay, now look at this. If you come on YouTube right now, in order for you to understand how YouTube does localization of content. Now, I'm not subscribed to Mark Angel Comedy. Neither am I subscribed to plenty of these channels. Can you see TV station? Can you see TV station here? This is TVC, this is TV360, this is Channels TV, this is Sahara TV. Now, all of these are localized content. So YouTube has also gone to that point where rather than just putting content out anyhow, right now YouTube now uses your location uses your content preference, the kind of content you've been consuming in the past. They use it to determine what you get to see anytime you open up YouTube, whether it's on phone or on the laptop. They show you these things in order for you to see that you should click more, you should watch more, you should see more of that. Now, this Success Secrets TV here, this guy happens to be a friend of mine. And interestingly, I'm not even subscribed to this channel. Using Audacity2Lead, I'm not subscribed to this channel right now. But you can see that he said, look at another one. This is Hot Niger. This is also another one. All these are localized content. So right now, YouTube has come to that point where they now understand that localized content sometimes is what people are looking for. So while you may go on YouTube and search for things, YouTube algorithm also understands that people come on YouTube because they want to see what's going on. And so it begins to serve people. And imagine if YouTube, let me show you what I just did now. So if YouTube serves, let's say this is your video. Let's just say this part here. This Mackenzie right now. Let's say it's your video, your own video available on YouTube. Imagine what it's going to look like if 1,000 or let's say 3,000 people get to see your video. They may not even click on it, they may not watch it, but the fact that it's showing up with your name, showing up with your branding, showing up as you, what do you think can happen? What benefits do you think that can bring to your business? Of course, that's visibility, right? And if it is something someone is looking for and they click and watch, and you actually structure your video in a way that converts, because there's a way to structure a video in a way that converts. If you structure your video in a way that converts, you will begin to see that you automatically be bringing in leads and revenue for your business. Now, how to do that, we are going to get into that as we go on, but I needed to quickly share that with you so that you understand what I am referring to here. So let's get back to that. Thank you, Sylvester. Thank you, Shogun. Thank you, Sylvester. Thank you, Tosin. Great. Just if you have any questions, the way to ask question so that I don't get to miss your question, the way to ask question is type Q or type question in full in capital letters in front of your video, in front of your question, so that I can easily identify that, okay, this is a question. Either you type Q or you type question and you type your whatever it is you want to type, you can type it after that so that I can easily understand that this is a question that I need to attend to. Okay. So having seen how YouTube works, now in recent times, of course, if I ask right now, when was the last time you listened to a radio program? Some of you may listen to radio programs simply because you have somebody you know who's going on that radio. But after the person you know has gone to that radio, a lot of times many people don't listen to radio, except you are a taxify driver or a Uber driver. That is when radio has to be inside the car. But you find that people are shifting from radio to podcasts. Same thing is happening with newspapers. In fact, for newspapers particularly, a lot of newspaper companies have practically reduced the number of copies of physical print that they do. They publish for their newspapers. They have turned most of them to online, and of course, because you know that with online, the moment they publish it, people read it instantly. Unlike physical newspapers that has to go through a lot of distribution before it gets to the final consumer. So a lot of this is shifting. Now, I know in your mind right now, you may be asking, so which should I choose? Is it YouTube that I should choose, or is it podcast? I'm going to answer that question right now. But let me quickly jump in right here and look at some of the questions. Emma, welcome. Good to have you here. You're just coming. Okay, so Funsha says, if you say YouTube is number 2 platform in terms of followership, which, okay. What I said is YouTube is the number 2 search engine. Number one search engine, of course, is Google. That is what I meant. Now, when it comes to social media, YouTube happens to be the number two or number three most used social media. That is when people want to say, okay, let me go and enjoy myself online. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. But if you check what is consistent with the two options, that is with Instagram and YouTube, because they are visual. And humans by nature are visual people. So imagine if I was doing this training right now and you are not even seeing my face. It will kind of be boring, which is why Instagram blew up, because it is visual in nature. So what I said is YouTube is number two search engine in the world. And in order to balance that so that it doesn't look like it's just an extreme statement, even though that is what data shows, in order to balance that, what you need to understand is that Google is the number one search engine in the world. YouTube is number two search engine in the world. Now, if Google is number one and YouTube is number two, who owns YouTube? Google. What does that mean? Google and YouTube are working together in order to serve people content. Google themselves don't really create content except for some of their articles and some of their publications, of which you can find a review. Google, there's a publication Google does every day, every week. Review is you see what people are watching on YouTube, the biggest videos people are watching on YouTube, something like that. And you can always sign up in order to see that, especially if you are a data-driven person like I am. If Google owns YouTube, Google is a search engine, YouTube is a search engine, that suggests that depending on how you use YouTube, you will always be found on Google. If you think that is a joke, let me show you what I mean right now. So I'm going to go on Google right now, and then I'm going to go on Google and I'm going to type something. So I'm going to go on Google. Let me type how to record a video with your smart. How to make good YouTube videos with a phone. Now, look at what I'm doing right now. I'm searching for something. Now, look at what you are seeing here. Can you see this right now? What do you see here? I typed how to make good YouTube videos with a phone. What came out? A YouTube video. Now look at all these. They are all YouTube videos. And you don't necessarily have to be the person who created the video. As you can see here, now even if I type how to make good videos with a phone, I'm changing that. Look at it. The first thing that came out is an article. The next couple of answers that came out are what? All of them are videos. You know why that is happening that way? Because Google wants to serve you content created by other people who are using their own platform. Now, I want to speak from experience. I have practically typed on Google content I've written on Facebook that I have written on Instagram. None of them showed up on Google. And it was very painful for me because it was very, very painful for me. I'm creating all this wonderful content on Facebook, writing all these powerful articles. I remember when I created Government of Self series, when I ran Government of Self series, as the article was being shared, people copied the article, sent it on WhatsApp and all that. But I Googled the article. Guess what? I did not see myself. So I said, what? So I found that there's this discrepancy between YouTube and between Google and Facebook. Google will only show you profiles of people on Facebook. It may not necessarily show you content that is put on Facebook. It also will not show you content that is placed on Instagram. But Google will always show you content that is on YouTube. In fact, Google will always show you content that are available as podcast episodes, as long as the podcast is available inside their own podcast app. So if Google is gradually bringing all of them together like that, what's the best thing you can do right now? Rather than fight it, why not position yourself in order for you to be a part of what Google will continue to serve people? Do you get the answer now? Do you get the gist now? So that's the logic behind this entire. So now moving forward, I hope that answers your question. I hope that answers your question. I hope that answers your question. Now, if in case you are considering, should I start YouTube or should I start podcast? I remember creating a video on this, and here is my own answer. So, what you need to consider is, if you want to create YouTube, if you are considering, should I start a YouTube channel or should I start a podcast? What you need to do is something simple. But first, you need to first of all consider the benefits and the pros and cons of both of them. Now, when it comes to rising trend, of course, podcast is currently rising, which is why podcast is yes. When it comes to ease of creation and cost of setup, podcast is cheaper to start. It's a lot cheaper. It's a lot easier to actually start a podcast, because if you want to start a podcast, you don't necessarily need to show your face. In fact, you can start a podcast while wearing your boxers. But of course, you can't do a YouTube video naked, can you? Except that is the message you want to pass anyway. Now, when it comes to searchability, YouTube videos are constantly being found. Podcast, yes, they are found, but it all depends on the way you set up your podcast, because my podcast ranks on YouTube, especially a few podcasts that I have, they rank on Google. But videos rank better. Videos are searchable. When it comes to engagement, videos have more engagement. Videos have higher engagement than podcasts. When it comes to analytics, currently, podcast is still trying to meet up with analytics. But YouTube already have analytics built into their system. When it comes to consumption, of course, we both know YouTube podcast is easier to consume than videos. But you know the interesting thing? People get to watch videos more than podcasts, even though podcast is easier to consume. And when I say easier to consume, I mean you can listen to a podcast without actively looking at your screen. But a YouTube video, well, some videos you can watch them without necessarily looking at your screen. Now, when it comes to competitiveness, which is the next option here, when it comes to competitiveness here, podcast has that. Not too many people are podcasting. So when you say you have a podcast and you have a YouTube channel, or when you say you have a YouTube channel, in somebody's head, it becomes you are one of them. But when you say you have a podcast, somebody's head, it goes like, oh, wow. Do you understand? So there's the competitiveness that podcast has. When it comes to virality, the option for your content to go viral, YouTube has that. When it comes to deepening relationship, that is, if you want to really connect with somebody, the best way to do that is using a YouTube channel. If you want to say, okay, I want to own my content, I want to own it. When it comes to ownership, podcast has that. With podcast, you own it. With YouTube, you don't necessarily own YouTube. In fact, YouTube can suddenly shut down your platform. YouTube can suddenly shut down your channel, but they don't just shut down channels anyhow. In order for a channel to be shut down, especially during this coronavirus, a couple of channels have been shut down. In order for your channel to be shut down, you have to first of all violate what they call community guidelines, which I've personally read through, and nothing that I do can violate that. Now, when it comes to audience retention, this one here, this is the big part on YouTube. Audience retention is very, very critical on YouTube. And what audience retention means is how long people are watching or listening to your content. For audience retention, podcast has that. People can listen to 47 minutes podcast without blinking an eye, without complaining. But once you start listening to a video, or start watching a video, once the video gets too long, there's this sense of fatigue that you tend to have. And so it may make you want to pull off and then say, I'll come back and watch it later. Or maybe you are like me, because I'm usually awake in the night. Anytime I see a video I'm interested in, I just add it to watch later. And then in the night, when I'm awake, I simply start watching them. And sometimes I've seen myself watched videos from 1 a.m. till 5 a.m. before. All those videos purely on YouTube. They were just going from this to next, to next, to next, to next. But in order for me to do that with a podcast, it's way easier. I can simply just click a podcast right now. In fact, the last podcast I listened to happens to be how many minutes? The last podcast I listened to, which was just yesterday, the last podcast I listened to is 48 minutes, 46 seconds. And
what's up, Team Flynn? Welcome to not just the Smart Passive Income podcast, but also 2000.
Do you get that? So that was the podcast that I listened to just yesterday. And that's 48 minutes, 46 seconds. I didn't complain of anything. Why? Because podcast has that built into it. But YouTube doesn't necessarily have that audience retention built into it. In fact, based on my own experience right now, in order for YouTube to keep suggesting your videos to people, one of the things that you need to be able to do is to keep people engaged, to retain your audience. That's one of the things that YouTube uses to determine whether your video is valuable so that they can suggest it to more people. Do you get that? Now, when it comes to ease of understanding, it's easier to understand what is going on in a video than with a podcast. For example, I recently started my podcast, my own personal podcast, the Dia Samuel Mastery Session. And what I am doing with the podcast is simply to do exactly what I'm going to be sharing with you. I record for video and then I maximize for audio. So while you are listening, there are certain things that I'm sharing on screen. When you are listening to it, it becomes very abstract. You may not be able to understand. So imagine if I was teaching you what I'm teaching you right now, what you are looking at on your screen right now. If I was to be telling you that using audio, it will require that I structure the content in a different way so that you can understand. But with video, I can just put it on the screen and talk through it. You will still understand anyway. Do you get that now? Now, when it comes to mobility, which is the ability to take your content and travel around, podcast has that. Now, when it comes to virality, which is sharing online, videos happen to be a lot more easier to share. But when it comes to mobility, that is your content traveling from devices to device to device to device, not necessarily sharing online, it is easier for a podcast to quickly be transferred from device to device. I have seen that happen severally. In fact, I remember one day somebody in Abuja went to a store to go get something, and as he was there, he said when he got there, they were going to buy an headphone. Yes, I remember it was an headphone they wanted to buy, and as they wanted to test the headphone, the client brought out his phone. All the audios on the guy's phone happened to be Audacity to Lead podcast. And it was like, so Audacity to Lead. They said, I listen to that guy a lot. I enjoy that guy's podcast. But you know the funny thing, till today, I don't know the name of that client. I only know the name of the person that told me. I don't know the name of that person that was testing that thing. But the person listens to my podcast. And you know the interesting thing? The person may not necessarily have downloaded them. Somebody could have downloaded them and just dropped them on his phone that I want you to listen to all these podcasts. You get it now? So YouTube, podcast, the two of them have their advantages. So when you are deciding which of them should you choose, my own style is this. Rather than say you want to choose this or that, what if you can combine the two of them together? And this is exactly what I want to share with you between today and the next session, which we are going to have on Monday. So you can, rather than have A or B, that is, rather than have YouTube or podcasts, what if you can have YouTube plus podcasts? And the way to do it is you are not going to be doing any extra work with the way I'm going to share with you. You are not going to be doing any extra work. Remember, the reason why you want to have YouTube is so that you can tap into the search engines. You can tap into what people are looking for on YouTube, the way YouTube serves people the content so that YouTube can continue to serve them. But you also want to tap into podcasts because podcast has a lot of advantages, a lot of competitiveness, which YouTube does not have. So you want to combine the virality and conversational nature of YouTube with the competitiveness and higher retention rate of podcast for your business. Now, here is something I need to explain here. And I really need to explain this here so that you can understand this. YouTube happens to be the only, let me not say only, because Facebook also does that, but in the context of our conversation here, for YouTube versus podcast does not have the ability for you to engage in conversation with the person who created the content. If you are going to engage in conversation with the person who created the content, it will be after the person has created it, or maybe the person has a Facebook group or has a different platform from the audio file. So it's either the audio file is hosted somewhere that allows that conversation to happen. But for YouTube, just watching a video alone, you can pause the video and tell the person who created the video that what you said in this place is not correct. What you said here, I agree with it. You can basically engage in conversations with people with YouTube, and that may not be possible with a podcast. Do you get that? So what you want to do is you want to combine the conversational nature and the virality that is possible with YouTube, the option for you to get found on YouTube. You want to combine that with the intimacy that podcast has. Podcast has that intimacy. People can listen to you and be on their bed. People can be listen to you and practically just lock themselves somewhere and enjoy you for as long as possible. Of course, by that possible, I mean for as long as that content is relevant to them. But that may not be possible with YouTube. So what you want to do is you want to combine the two of them together. And so how do you do that? In order to do that, you simply record for video and then you want to maximize for audio. Do you get that now? So you want to record for video and you want to maximize for audio. At this point, let me pause here and then let's talk. What have you learned so far? How has this been helpful to you so far? So please share with me right now. How has this been helpful to you so far? So that it's not just me alone that is talking. Let me also read from you at this point. How has this been helpful so far? So far, how has this been helpful? Let me lift my camera a little so that my head is clearly seen. So hope you're enjoying this session. We'll get a little tactical shortly. But I need to lay this foundation. And then by the time we come for the one on Monday, you will now see how to tie all of this together, how to create each episode such that each episode or each video you publish leads people back to you. So I'm looking at comments here. Oh, Emeka, it's good to have you here. That's why I'm taking YouTube serious. Amazing. Ima says, nice. Shegun says, record for video, maximize for audio. That's right. And then Ima says, I'm really enjoying this. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So Shegun says, so I can have both a YouTube channel and a podcast all in one. Very correct. Very, very correct. In fact, right now, let me show you my own podcast so that you can see that. Let me show you my own podcast so that you can see. Let the page finish opening and then I'll show you my own podcast. I've begun to utilize both YouTube and podcast together. Ima, thank you very much. It says, I'm really enjoying this. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Says, I want to launch YouTube and podcast this month. Fantastic, fantastic. So Ima, you're in the right place. Because today, like I said, we will lay the foundation and then Monday we'll get into strategy. Today we'll focus on the tactics and Monday we'll get into strategy. And then if you want to go further, I'm going to also provide you the opportunity to go deeper so that we can work on the other details that are involved when it comes to YouTube and podcasts so that you can combine them together. So I'm going to share my screen right now so that you can see my podcast. This is my podcast here right now. Can you see this? So this is my podcast here right now. And as at this moment, as at this time that we're speaking to you, my podcast can be listened to on Spotify. You can listen to it on Apple. You can listen to it on Breaker. You can listen to it on Castbox. You can listen to it on Pocket Cast. You can listen to it on Radio Public. You can listen to it on Spotify. You can listen to it on even Anchor. So imagine my podcast spreading everywhere like that. And all of this, as you can see, this was released May 24, 2020. This is May 22, 2020. It's May 21, 2020. So as you can see here, all of these are things that I am doing myself. So it's not like I am just saying it because I want to say it. There are things that I am doing myself. So it's something I'm practicing. So I'm teaching you from what I do, not just what I want to tell you. And the main reason why I'm doing this workshop is because people pay us to do this for them. We have clients who we work on YouTube for them. We have clients that we manage their podcasts. We have people who we manage their YouTube channels. And I've begun to let some of our clients know that you can actually run YouTube and podcast together, but they seem not to be able to understand. So I said, okay, rather than get into a lot of back and forth in order to let me do this workshop so that you can see how this works. So this is how to do it. This is what I just poured on my face right now. And I don't have an handkerchief here. It's all right. I'll use my hand to clean my face. For sure says this is the first time I'm really seeing the need to have a YouTube channel and go into podcast. Oh, really? Amazing, 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 amazing. So you are in the right place. Thank you very much for that. Samuel Lauren Daddy, take high five. Good to have you here. This is very timely for me. Amazing, amazing. So I'm liking the fact that this is very useful to each of you. I'm glad that that is happening. So thank you for sharing all of that with me. So the last thing I said was that you should record for video, you maximize for audio. Now, all the podcasts I just showed you now, as I said I did, all of these podcasts that I do, that's all of those my podcasts. For your information, I did not record them separately from the video. All I did was just to produce the video, and then I took the audio out from the video and then use them as podcasts. I'm going to show you, of course, that is basic functioning, right? But in order to get the podcast to be found, in order to get the videos to be found, what did I do? Those are the strategic things that I did. So we are going to get into all those tactics and strategy. Today we'll cover some parts. Next Monday we'll cover some other parts. Okay. Let me kind of say some more. I find it easier to do video. Fantastic. Me at the fire they go. Fantastic, fantastic. Today I did 11 minutes without editing anything. Amazing, 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 amazing. Glad to hear that. And interestingly, I saw some of your videos, and there are a couple of recommendations I will make, but that may come at a later time. So at this point, let's just move forward a little. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mekanobis. Thank you, Samuel. Thank you, Funsho. Thank you, Ima. Thank you, Shogun. And every other person that is live here. I know it's a typical thing to have invisible audience when you're doing anything. So I know that some people are invisible audience right now. They are watching, but they're not saying anything. So it's very okay. So the last thing I said was record for video, maximize for audio. How do you do that? Simply create what I call video podcasts. Now, I'm going to share the idea of video podcast with you, which is podcast that is video, podcast that is audio. So you are doing video podcasts and you are doing them episodically. So you are doing every single episode, you know that this is what you are doing. So I'm going to share the idea of video podcast with you right now. And this is a trend that is beginning to rise. It began a couple of years ago, but nobody took it serious until something recently happened. Now, if you're asking, okay, what is video podcast? Well, a video podcast is simply a podcast with a video element. The video element could be as simple or as complex as you like, but they often consist of a single static image or a video recording of the podcast hosts and guests. Do you get that? So a video podcast is simply a podcast with a video element. So it is not like you are, is a video podcast is not like a normal YouTube video. It is simply a podcast with a video element. And the video elements can be, maybe you have full audio without any video, or you can have audio and video combined together. The one that I have found, I'm going to show you the different types of video podcasts that exist, the ones that I have found. In fact, I know a couple of persons that do them, and I'm going to share that with you. NM Personal Training. Hi, welcome. Good to have you here. So here is an example from This American Life. Now, This American Life runs This American Life is a podcast. But here's what I want you to see here. This American Life has a podcast on YouTube, a video podcast on YouTube. And as you can see here, this was uploaded 1 year ago. Look at how many views he has, 10K views. By the way, this is static image video podcast. It's just audio. They just added image and they simply uploaded it to YouTube. So they are not even doing any special work. It's just the audio, but they just added a picture. Of course, you can't upload an audio to YouTube. In order for you to upload an audio, you need a visual aspect. So in order to do the visual aspect, they simply added their podcast cover. And that's all that they put on YouTube. And if you look at this here, this one has 10K views. Let me select my pen. This one here has 10K views. This one up here, this one here has 19K views, 11K. This one has 11K views. And this one here has 14K views. And all of these were uploaded just 1 year ago. Now, this is a static image. Now, there are other types of podcasts as well. This one is a footage video podcast. And this type, what they simply do is this. They simply use videos, but the videos are not someone talking. So it is just a voiceover captured, or let me say it's a voiceover capturing something that is going on. And typically, all CNET video podcasts simply do their podcast as a video podcast. And the way they do it is they do short tech news. That's what they do. So they go into news, and while they are reading the news, they are showing you something on the screen. So more like television, but it's available on iTunes. As you can see here, this is Apple Podcast here, isn't it? So this is Apple Podcast here, but it's a video anyway. So it means that you can also have video podcast available on iTunes. And I've seen that happen. Now, here's a mixed type of video podcast. Now, this is Not Too Deep podcast with Grace Helbig. This is the audio available on the website. But look at this is the video available on YouTube. Now, what I want you to see here is, here with the podcast here, you can't see any data. You can't see anything. The only thing you can see here is subscribe to podcast here. You can't see anything else, right? But I'm going to show you something here. Now, here is the same podcast, Not Too Deep. Look at it on YouTube. See this here. Can you see that? The same podcast has 2.7 million subscribers on YouTube. And guess the funny thing? Look at the episodes. This is 54 minutes. This is 52 minutes. This is 12 minutes. This is 1 hour. This is 8 minutes. Of course, this will probably be just a video. This is another podcast here, 55. So you see here, this is Not Too Deep. This is Not Too Deep. This one is not this one is not a podcast. This one is not a podcast. This is Not Too Deep. This is Not Too Deep. This one is not a podcast. This is a podcast. This is a podcast. This is not a podcast. This is a podcast. This one is also a podcast, because you can see 1 hour, 5 minutes. So you see, if you want to even do podcasts, like you want to have a podcast going on, you can have both podcasts and your normal content available on YouTube. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is YouTube, your channel will grow the more you upload videos. That's how YouTube works. There are people who are personalities who don't necessarily need to create videos in order for their channel to grow, but they have done maybe some other work somewhere that YouTube now rewards them by reward. I'm just saying that people go on YouTube to go and find them. That's what I mean by reward. So they are not really creating content on YouTube. So it's just like you can only find tiny clips of them on YouTube, but their real content is found somewhere else. There are people like that, but that doesn't always happen. And you can't leave your own business to chance. So rather than do that, what if you can do a combination of video and also of podcast? But the podcast is also available as video, and your video still continues to run. So you are combining both YouTube, running a normal YouTube channel, combining that with running a podcast as well. If you are getting me right now, please say yes. Say yes in the comments. Let me know that you're getting me. And for this not too deep, this is how they do their recording. You can see this is how they do the recording. They just sit around the table, just one camera. It's not like the camera is moving up and down anyway. It's just one camera sitting down like this, and from beginning to the end, this is how you get to see them. So this is for 1 hour. This is all you are looking at, but you can see the expression because, of course, that is a part of the engagement. Are you getting what I'm trying to explain here? And now look at this, a recent video that she released June 8th. Look at how the video was done. The video was done as a Zoom Zoom interview, and they did not even record it very well. Look at how they recorded it. They recorded it as a portrait video instead of a landscape video that will fill the entire screen. Are you getting what I'm saying now? So, and for your information, this video happens to be maybe 52 minutes. And this is all that you are seeing. You are simply seeing some people down here, seeing some people up there. I hope you are getting me right now. If you're getting me, please say yes in the comment. Let me know that you're getting me right now. So you see there is a new trend rising, and you can quickly tap in before it becomes another culture again. So to see. So if you're getting me, say yes in the comments right now. Let me know what you think right now. Let me know what you think right now. So if you get me, let me know what you think right now. Okay. So I'm checking the comments right now. Okay. Someone learned that says yes. Okay. Good. Good. So let's move forward from here then. What's happening here? Okay, so something was happening on my desk here before, so I was wondering, what's going on? Try and figure out what's going on. Let me try and figure out what's going on. So I'm going to. Okay, it looks like Chrome browser froze. So it looks like Chrome browser actually froze. So I'm still trying to understand why. But if you if you if you are still with me, please let me know right now. I'm reading the comments and I can see that the video is still going on. So while I can't operate Chrome right now, I can still see that the video is still going on. So what have you learned so far that is useful to you? That's useful to you? Okay, so great. I'm seeing questions now. So Ima says, do you need to edit the audio before uploading on Anchor? Well, yes, you should. You should. I'm going to explain how that connection works, how you can take your audio and use as a podcast. I'm going to explain that soon. But the way I do mine is rather than just have my audio, of course, because if you are recording for video, you are speaking as video. But when you are using the audio as podcast, there's a little change that's happening. Of course, the change that happens usually is that you are how should I say now? People, some of the things that you will explain with video, you will need to say differently with audio. Or maybe when you're talking on YouTube, you say subscribe to my channel. So things like that, you might need to take them out from the audio. And that's what I typically do. So I take them out from the audio. Now, that's just a little of the technical part. I'm still wondering why this is frozen. So I'm trying to check why there's still a lot of freezing going on here. My browser just completely froze. So while we are waiting for that, okay, Emma, thank you. You're still with me. So moving on, while I'm waiting for the browser to freeze itself. Okay, great. So what you will need to understand, of course, I've shared that there's a podcast that just, I should try restarting the browser. Well, if I restart the browser, I'm sure that I'm going to be cut off. I'm sure that I'll be cut off. The only thing that I know that I'm using right now that's not part of this live stream. The only thing I know I'm using is just PowerPoint. And of course, Audacity is going on in the background. Audacity is recording the audio. But apart from that, nothing else is running. But I'm wondering why it's frozen like this. If I should close it, this stream may stop. And I wouldn't want that to happen. So, and there are no unused apps on my laptop at all, none. That is not relevant to this. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to share I'm going to continue to share without the slide. So I'm going to wait for it. When it resumes, we'll continue from there. So let me continue from here. Now, apart from mixed video type, another type of video podcast that you can do is to have in-person studio video podcast. And what I mean by in-person studio video podcast is the type of podcast that you have. Okay. I wish I could have invited myself to the. Yes, I think system resources is being overloaded. I think that's why. So I'm just leaving it. So I'll leave the browser for the browser to continue to run. Okay. From what I'm seeing here, the browser is taking 1 gig space. Okay, it has dropped down. It's still 1 gig, 1.3 gigs RAM CPU memory. That's what the browser is taking. That's what Chrome is taking right now. So let me see if I can shut down a lot of the browsers. Let me see if I can shut down many of the browsers. I don't know the specific Chrome browser that I should shut down. Or okay, I think what happened, based on what I'm seeing here, based on looking at the task manager, it's just the streaming app that I'm using inside Chrome that's creating the real problem. So that's the only one that is frozen. But I'm going to continue. Hopefully, with time, it's going to get to come back. So, with that, the next thing you need to understand, as I said, the second type of podcast is in-person studio video podcast. And what I mean by that is when you set up a studio in order to record your video podcast. So you set up your studio, and with your studio, you are recording the video inside a studio. And with this studio being, so you are recording the video inside a studio. Maybe you are doing a studio like I am doing right now. Of course, this is my studio. This is where I record my videos from. I can do videos from that side. I can do videos from this side. I can also do videos from this side. So I have three sides inside my studio here. But I love to use this side the most because this side is more relaxed. I can sit down. If I'm going to use that side, I will need to stand up. If I have to use this side, I will look like I'm sitting in a different type of room. Of course, that's a different color. This is a different background. This is a different background. That's the kind of thing I have here in my own studio. So you can have a studio podcast, a video studio podcast. So you can have where you will be recording your video from, where you basically record. Remember, you are recording for video, so it is interesting to the eyes looking at it, and you're also using the audio. And one person who does this very well is Dave Ramsey. If you have ever seen Dave Ramsey, in fact, Michael Hyatt also does this very well when he was running the season 2 and season 3 of his Michael Hyatt show. When he was running season 2 and season 3, when he was when he and one lady, I've forgotten her name, when they used to have conversations, that is an in-studio video podcast. So you are doing it inside a studio. Now, the third type is in person at home. So you can sit down in your house without a studio. That's the third type. You can sit down in your house without a studio and basically do your videos. So what you need to do then is to ensure that your composition is clean to the eyes so that people can literally understand there are not too many activities going on. I'm going to talk about that one. I'm going to talk about framing your scene. I'm going to talk about that later on. And another one that you can do as well is what I call the other type that you can do as well is the type that I call doing virtual interviews. So you can run your podcast basically doing virtual interviews. And when I say virtual interviews, it means you're using a tool like StreamYard, you're using a tool like Zoom, you're using a tool like something just popped up in my head. So something just popped up in my head. Let me try it and let me see how that is going to work. So now I'm going to, so you're about to see me back on the screen. So you might see me back on the screen in the next couple of minutes, but then Okay, so you can see me back on screen right now. So I've just switched to my phone. So I'm now using my phone right now while that is going on. So I'm going to hold on till I'm going to hold on till I'm going to hold on till what's the name? Clears itself, to the browser clears itself. So I'm going to hold on for that. Okay, so hopefully, I hope you can hear me right now. I hope you can hear me right now. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please let me know that you can hear me. Okay, it's okay. Video is frozen now, but I hope I am back. What I've just done is to switch from laptop to my phone and then come back. So that's what I just did. So now I've shut down the browser, and hopefully this time around I'm going to get back in. So moving forward, you might also notice that my audio has changed. Video is portrait now and back. Yes, I had to switch to my phone. So I'm currently using my phone, and that's what I'm using to do this right now. So I switched from laptop to my phone so that it doesn't keep hanging and hanging and hanging and pretending to us like it's working and it's not working. So again, the idea is for you to be able to combine the virality and conversational nature of podcast with being able to use video. So you are combining the two of them together rather than saying that you are doing this or that. You are basically doing the two of them together at the same time. That way, you are leveraging the advantage of having a podcast as well as running a YouTube channel. Do you get it now? The audio is low. Oh, sorry, the audio is low. That's right. The audio is low. The audio is low because I'm from my phone. So let me let the audio be clearer now. So the audio should be clearer now. If I am correct, so you will see magic happen in a couple. So you're about to see some on briefly and then it went away again. So hopefully this is what happens when you this is what happens when you do live stream sometimes. So great. So you can see that I'm multiplied on the screen. Now, in case you are wondering, what am I doing? Well, I'm using a tool called StreamYard. You can simply use the link down in my description to create an account for yourself. So now I am done. So let me simply just exit at this point. Good. So I am back. So I figured out how to solve it. You see? So if you saw the glitch that just happened, please bear with me. That's what usually happens when you are doing a live show. That's what usually happens, especially if you are doing a live show with a service like this. Sometimes things can hang. So just to repeat some of the things that I said before I went off. So I said, this is the in-person studio video podcast. you can have a full-blown studio like this, and this is third type, which is in person at home. They just set it up at home, and the two of them are just sitting down on a cloth that is the background. Their background is basically a paper or a backdrop or a cloth, and you can simply do that. And see, this is a podcast that went on for 1 hour 22 minutes. Now, remember, the idea here is for you to be able to combine the virality of podcasts, the virality and conversational nature of YouTube with the competitiveness and higher retention rate of podcasts for your business. I hope that I am back now. I hope that this is better now. Can you see myself? Can you see me clearly right now? Can you see me clearly right now? Let me know that you can see me clearly right now. So hopefully I am better now. So let me know, please. Let me know. So I'm checking back on my phone now to see that everything okay, good. So thank you. It says yes, that's back on now. Thank you. Great. So Ima says yes. So thank you. So moving on from here, this is the best time to jump in to creating video podcasts. Now, of course, some years ago, it was the best time to jump in for podcasts. But then because there's a new trend rising, this is the best time for you to jump in with video podcasts. And I'm going to show you a couple of reasons why that is very, very important. Now, number one is the fact that a Business Insider last year says that YouTube is positioned to become the next podcasting giant. Now, why is that so? It comes down to this. YouTubers and podcasters alike have been using the platform. Let me highlight that so that you know what I'm reading. So this is the part that I'm reading here. YouTubers and podcasters alike have been using the platform to cross-promote their audio shoots, and it's possible YouTube eventually creates a dedicated section to further promote this behavior. YouTube has not announced that yet. But YouTube megastars like Logan Paul and Emma Chamberlain have used their existing fan base from YouTube to popularize their podcast by posting video episodes for each audio show on dedicated channels. Now, this may appear grandiose, and you may think, wow, really? But don't let that intimidate you, because that is just a tiny bit of the iceberg. Here is what I want you to understand why this is the best time to jump in. For the first time in the history of Apple Podcast, that is iTunes having Apple Podcast, for the first time in history, podcasts available in iTunes directory crossed 1 million this April during this lockdown. What does that suggest? It means more people are beginning to start podcasts right now. And that upsurge happened because people are locked down at home, and somehow people could say that, okay, I think now is the best time for me to start that podcast that I've been postponing since. So now I can actually start that podcast. And so during lockdown, between March, April, you can see here, between here, February, and then this May, and even coming to June right now, look at what happened. Apple Podcast crossed 1 million. And when we say 1 million podcasts, we mean that these are valid podcasts that are available in Apple Podcasts with downloadable episodes, regardless of age or active status. There have been many more podcasts and many more episodes, but they are not all still available through valid feeds due to feed episode limits. This is also not in the number of active podcasts. So when you say active podcasts, it means that podcasts that are fully functional, not those that are not, when somebody says that I have podcasts, like the podcast was last active maybe 10 years ago. No, that's not what it means. It means active podcasts. Do you get it now? So imagine that today there are 1 million podcasts. If you ask how many YouTube channels do you think exist? Well, as at the last time I checked, there are more than 30 million. Did I say million? There are actually more than way more than millions of of YouTube channels available. But you know the interesting thing, the fact that there are many channels available doesn't mean that you cannot start your own channel. So you may feel like others have done it. The interesting that others have not done it the way you will do it. Moving on. Third reason is this: Spotify strike podcast deal with Joe Rogan worth more than 100 million. His full library dating back 11 years is to hit Spotify by September 1st and become exclusive to Spotify after that, before the end of the year. Now, what does that mean? During this same lockdown, this was back in May, that's just last month, Spotify paid Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan happens to be the biggest podcaster. He's like the top of podcasters. Joe Rogan is his name. His podcast is called Joe Rogan Experience. And Spotify bought Joe Rogan over to Spotify so that I can begin to do his podcast exclusively just for Spotify. That means that, what does that suggest to you? It means there is now beginning to be value placed on podcasters. Before now, there is not so much value. People were only looking at podcasters as people who were not serious or were not so serious. But that is beginning to change. Now, when Spotify bought Joe Rogan for 100 million, guess what happened within the next 48 hours? The share value of Spotify went up by 300% in just 48 hours of that sale happening. You know why? Because people who are smart business-wise know that once they pull over 11, did I say 11 million? He has 8 million subscribers on YouTube, and every month his podcast is downloaded 100 million times. If they pull all of that and just drop all of that audience on Spotify, imagine what's going to happen. And for your information, Spotify is not just buying Joe Rogan. Spotify is buying people, things, buying networks, podcast network up and down. For example, they bought this Ringa Podcast Network. Ringa Podcast Network produces all of these shows. They produce 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these 5 shows. And they have more than these 5 shows. But all of the shows under Ringa Podcast Network, Spotify have bought them. Interestingly, Spotify also bought Anchor. So the Anchor that you are even talking about, Spotify now owns Anchor. So they bought it over. Gimlet Media, some years ago, Gimlet Media was the newest podcast rave, when they created a show called Start. Yes, the first show was called Startup, and it was about a startup that is a podcast. And or let me say it this way: they were creating a show about podcast startup. So they were a startup, but the startup is about podcast, and they were now podcasting their own journey of starting up a podcast network. Do you understand? So that was how they started. And they have about 3-4 shows. Now the entire company has been bought over by Spotify. Interestingly, there's also another platform called Podcasts, and they produce podcast, audio, radio. That is what they produce. Spotify has also bought them over. Now, what does that suggest to you? It means that Spotify is beginning to see the value in podcasts. So if you want to go YouTube alone and you don't want to involve and you don't want to do podcasts, I think you may be missing out on, because, for example, my podcast is available on iTunes. It's also available on Spotify. What does that suggest to you? It means if by September 1, 8 million people, as you can see here, there are 8 million subscribers on Joe Rogan's channel. And look at some of his videos. As at 2 hours yesterday, his video already had 43K views. Look at 1 day ago, 1.6 million. 2 days ago, 2.7 million. 2 days ago, 1. So he released 2 podcasts in 1 day, and the podcasts have already 4 million. 4 million views. And here, this is 1 million. This is 1 million. So it means even if he coughs, 1 million people will watch the cough. But interesting thing is, how better will it be? Because what you need to also understand is, with this sale, it's going to bring a lot of visibility to more podcasts, because as people move over to Spotify, if these 8 million people move over to Spotify, because by then, when they move everything, it means that this channel will most likely be shut down, or this channel will be migrated to Spotify. I don't, or maybe the channel will just stop uploading content, and then further content will continue to run on Spotify. I don't know I don't know what they have in plan. But 8 million people, if they move over to Spotify, it means these 8 million people will still be looking for other podcasts to listen to. If your podcast is available on Spotify, it means that you have a chance to be listened to by some of these 8 million people who may be looking for other podcasts to listen to. Are you getting the idea now? And you know the funny thing? The podcast that we are talking about, what form of podcast is it? It's a video podcast. It does it as primarily a video podcast. They now take out the audio. And so the audio is available on podcast platform. Of course, Spotify doesn't have a video podcast platform at this moment. So they are basically looking at the audio for now. But the guy does it as a video podcast and then he shares it as audio. Do you understand the idea now? Now, as you can see, he has 8.6 million subscribers. And I checked something yesterday. See these estimated earnings here. So estimated monthly earnings, it makes between 26.7K to $426.8K. That is between $26,000 and $426,000 every month, based on just his YouTube channel. This is just a statistics. And yearly makes between 320 to 5.1 million just on his channel. So I want you to think with me right now. Do you think you have such value that you can bring to the marketplace? Now, the interesting thing is that when Joe Rogan started this podcast back 11 years ago, if you calculate 11 years ago, that should be about 2008 or 2009, right? Around the time that I just gave you if you remember when I gave you the backlog earlier on. So you see that there is a lot going on with podcast, but people are not shutting down YouTube to leverage podcast. They are still using YouTube in combination with audio podcasts, and they are maxing out. So they are really, really doing great things. So at this point, I want to kind of pay attention to you a little again. So it must say Spotify. That's right. Shegun Akere says interesting stats analytics in action. Yes, sir. You know, I said it that I've always loved data. You like data a lot because data has helped to make certain decisions that have resulted in plenty money. Ima says, wow. Grace says, wow. But I hope you are getting the vibe here. I hope you are getting the gist that there is more than just so you can say see money. Now, those are just 3 reasons why you should consider doing podcasts. Let's look at number 4. Number 4 reason why you should consider doing a video podcast is this. YouTube is the second most popular social media platform. And this is based on the data that came out in December 2000. And I think the last quarter, the fourth quarter of 2019, 79% of internet users say they have a YouTube account. That is, they actively use YouTube. That's number 4. And as I said earlier on, if you're taking social media, you either say Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or you say Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. But YouTube is the second most popular social media platform. And for your information, between when the Facebook data breach incidents happened and now, YouTube has gone higher than Facebook. Facebook has simply gone lower. In fact, Mind Valley recently, Vision Lakani of Mind Valley recently said on his Instagram story that they are moving away all of their communities on Facebook. They are moving them away. And that's over 2 million people. They are moving them away from Facebook. You know why? Because Facebook began to shift their stance on certain things recently. And when they were shifting their stance, they were not supporting humanity. They were simply supporting the powerful people that are in high places. So if you check online, you will see the story. But you understand what's happening now? So Facebook is gradually losing relevance. And so if you keep building your house on Facebook and you're not tapping into YouTube and podcast, you probably may be missing out on some of the things. And for information, I have not seen anybody who say that I succeeded exclusively because of Facebook. Most times they succeeded in combination with Facebook. So they didn't do it exclusively just to Facebook. Let me give you an example. A guy called Jay Shetty started off with YouTube. By the time he was doing YouTube, he started off with Facebook. By the time he was doing Facebook for a while, he moved his content and began to do Facebook and YouTube. Guess how most people found him? They found him first with Facebook, but eventually people migrated to YouTube. And now I personally pay attention to his YouTube than his Facebook. I don't even go on Facebook like before again. It's when people tag me or maybe when I have notifications that I check Facebook. I hardly go on Facebook these days because I'm beginning to see that Facebook just wants to house everything without letting other people find them. Do you get that? Imagine if I had done Nigeria Podcast Network on YouTube for these years. Imagine what would have been. It would have blown. But because it's on YouTube, it's on Facebook. Even when you Google it, you only find references, links, but you won't see the group itself on Facebook. You won't see it on Google. So all of these have been giving me a lot of concerns for a long while. So do you get what's going on here? Now let's move forward. Let's look at number 4. Let's look at number 5. Number 5 reason why you should jump in right now. As this one has to do with the importance of YouTube for businesses. 62% of businesses use YouTube as a channel to post video content. And this was according to Buffer. Of course, many of us know Buffer app, don't we? 62% of businesses use YouTube as a channel to post video content. Imagine if 62% of businesses are using that. Is your business part of the 62%? If your business is not part of the 62%, what are you doing? What are you waiting for? And number 6, which is going to be the last one I'm going to mention here, why you should jump in, is that people discover new products and services on YouTube. 90% of YouTube users says they discover new products, new brands on YouTube. And this is according to Think with Google. You remember earlier on I said that that Google has a publication, that one of them is a review. The other one is Think with Google. I'm subscribed to all of them. So I get to see some of this data when it's coming out fresh from Google. So I get to read them. So see, 90% of people say they discover new brands or products on YouTube. If your own brand, if your own business is not on YouTube, how are you going to be discovered? At this point, let me bring to you an interesting story that I read in J.J. Omojua's book. That's the digital wealth. So that's the title of the book. I was reading the book one day and I saw that in one particular place he was talking about YouTube. He said he was doing Twitter. Yes, so people already knew with Twitter, but he had done a video and he just put it on YouTube and abandoned it there. The first time he was going to speak in an international conference. The people who found him through that video on YouTube, not with his Twitter account. Even though he's very, very popular on Twitter, on YouTube where he's not popular at all, that's where people found him and brought him to come and speak internationally. I think it was a conference at maybe Ethiopia or maybe it was, I can't remember the country, but he mentioned it in his book. That is one. Second is a friend of mine, Dr. Malik. Dr. Malik started his channel when I was doing podcasts. Dr. Malik started podcasts as well, but Dr. Malik didn't just stay with podcast. He combined that with YouTube videos. And today, let me show you Dr. Malik's channel. Let me show you Dr. Malik's channel today. Let me look for Dr. Malik. Let me show you Dr. Malik's channel today.
My name is Dr. Malik.
So let me show you Dr. Malik's channel today so that you can understand exactly what I'm saying. So even though when I started podcasts, Dr. Malik started podcast along with me. But Dr. Malik took YouTube seriously more than I ever considered. Look at Dr. Malik today. Can you see here? How many subscribers can you see here? Almost 100,000 subscribers. Dr. Malik has gone on to speak at, I think, World Health Organization invited him to speak recently at a conference outside of Nigeria in an international conference. And the only way they brought him in was because of his YouTube channel. Dr. Malik has gone to YouTube event for Nigeria, and he was one of the few educational channels that were invited. Other channels are not educational. And for your information, out of the 250 YouTube channels that the biggest YouTube channels in Nigeria, the 250 YouTube channels in Nigeria, the biggest of them, maybe 3 or 4 happens to be educational. All the remaining are either religious, entertainment, comedy, movie, music, record label. Those are the channels that exist currently in Nigeria, the top 250 channels in Nigeria. So there are very few educational channels. If you are a consultant, if you are a coach, if you are a trainer, if you are a speaker, if you are an author, what are you doing? How are you taking advantage of YouTube? Do you get the gist now? This is what I want you to understand today. Now, let's move forward from there and let's look at how we can begin to utilize this. So, as I said earlier on, this is the part that I like the most, that people discover new brands or products on YouTube. 90% of people say they discover new brands or products on YouTube. And many of you don't currently utilize YouTube. Now, what are the keys to discoverability on YouTube? Let me quickly share that with you. Number 1 is optimizing your video for search. That is, so that people can find, in order to enable discoverability on YouTube, you need to be optimized for search. So you need to optimize all your videos, all your channel for search. That is, you can't just be putting out content. And this one, I know this one might be like I'm shaking table right now. You can't put content out titling it in the way that you like to title it. In fact, this video that you're watching right now here on YouTube right now, I've optimized it so that people can discover the video even when I'm live. So while it appears to you like I'm doing this video live, because I'm strategic, because I'm tactical, at least, to some extent, I already optimized the video for discoverability so that people can discover it. So that means that even after I've finished this video is still going to be found by more people. I've already optimized the video. Do you understand that? So that's the first thing. You need to learn how to optimize your videos for search. You also need to learn how to optimize your channel for search. Number 2 is suggested videos. And when we talk about suggested videos simply means that YouTube suggests your video to people. You know, when you are watching a YouTube video, underneath the video, you will see play next or coming up. I think it's play next. And if you're on a desktop, it shows by the side of the screen. So you see a lot of videos that are suggested on the side of the screen. Do you know how that suggested work? Let me explain how suggested videos work. Number 1 is when the video is properly optimized for search. Then the video is properly optimized for search. Second is the relation of the video that you are currently watching in connection with the video that is optimized. So if you optimize the video for discoverability, if you optimize it for search, even when somebody is not searching, the video, if they are watching a video that relates to something that you have created content for, your video comes up next. That's how YouTube works. Number 3 is playlists. Playlists are discovered on YouTube. So you need to also, for example, if you go on YouTube, if you search on YouTube, for example, how to do something, sometimes, or even not even how to do something, if you search for a documentary, sometimes what will come up will be a playlist of content that are related together. So what you do with playlists is you group content that are related together so that when YouTube wants to serve somebody this playlist, they can see that all of these content are kind of related. And number 4 is YouTube homepage. I showed you this one earlier on. So you remember how YouTube homepage works. YouTube, I came across a stat recently. Somebody carried out an experiment. He refreshed YouTube homepage 100 times. Out of those 100 times, the videos that came up, and it was not even logged in, it was incognito, one, that is, it was not signed in. So there was no record to see the kind of videos he liked to watch or anything. So he simply just went incognito and then he refreshed YouTube homepage 100 times. Guess what happened? The videos that were suggested included videos of 11 years ago, 8 years ago, 7 years ago, 4 years ago, 1 year ago. 1 year ago were many, but the biggest 60% of the videos were videos that were released between the last 6 months. What does that suggest to you? YouTube also likes recency. So it means that if you create a video and the last time you created a video it was 1 year ago, YouTube will suggest it. But if you keep uploading video, even if you are not regular, at least maybe you are doing videos every month, maybe you are doing video once every 2 weeks, that frequency also keeps your brand coming up in front of people. Because when YouTube shows your video to somebody, that's brand visibility. I hope you know. What is called impression is brand visibility. And my own personal channel, I was checking and I found that between May and June, that is between May last month and June, I've had 10,000, yes, 10,000 different people see my videos. Now, all of those 10,000 may not click to watch, but the fact that they have seen it alone matters. That may not be possible with Facebook. In fact, if you run a Facebook page, that is not possible. Facebook does not do it organically. You have to pay in order for people to see your content on Facebook. Are you getting what's going on here? So rather than depend on paid ads, you can do this organically. And by the way, I've grown my channel from, I think it was 16 subscribers when I started my YouTube channel last year, January. As at now, it's already about maybe 500 and something subscribers. And this Audacity2Lead channel that you're watching right now, the channel was started in December 1st, 2019. The first video was uploaded December, I think 28th, 29th, 31st of 2019. And between then and now I created the channel completely from scratch. This one, I created it. This one was not a channel that I had abandoned, that I created long ago, like my own personal channel. It's not like I've created it since 2015 and then 2019 and I say, okay, I'm ready to do YouTube. No, that's not what I did. I simply created it from scratch 2019. And between then and now, if you check on that subscribers now, you'll see how many subscribers we currently have. And all these subscribers have not paid one dime to promote any video. I've not paid one dime in order for these people to subscribe. Do you understand what's going on? So imagine, and for your information, subscribers don't necessarily mean that is the number of views you have. It doesn't mean that's the number of people who see your video. Subscribers are simply people who say, yes, I want more. So for example, one of our videos have 600 or maybe 700 views. That means 700 people have seen that video, but not all of those 700 people have subscribed, right? I have a video that, on my own personal channel, I have a video that is over 1,000 views. Do you know what the video is about? 10 jobs that did not exist 10 jobs that did not exist 10 years ago. Something like that. That's the title of the video. Do you know the funny thing? The video has been seen over 1,000 times. But guess what? I don't have up to 1,000 subscribers yet. So subscriber may not be the ultimate mark that you should be looking for. Yes, it's good to grow your subscribers. It's good to tell people to grow, to help you grow your subscribers. But subscriber is not the ultimate. It's something else that you should be looking at. It is the fact that there's brand visibility, which is converting to people coming to do business with you. That's the part that is more important. Do you get the idea now? So moving on, here is my own personal channel. You can see that this is in the last 28 days, I've had 717 views, and that is above 270 to 370 that I usually have. And this is watch hours in the last, that means 53 hours. People have
people have watched my videos within the last 28 days for 53 hours. And look at, of these 53 hours, only 45 people decided to subscribe. Do you understand that? And look at here. Can you see this spike here? Can you see this spike here? Now, what led to this spike here? I was simply doing a live show, a YouTube live every day for 5 straight days. And as at this time, YouTube had a glitch this day. So they placed 2 days video that was supposed to be here. They now place it on this day. So it now became like I released 2 videos in that day. So that was why there's a spike here. What I saw and learned from that is if you upload multiple videos per day, you have an advantage of having such spikes happen. But if you upload constantly like this, you constantly have this spike, you constantly have this spike, you constantly have this spike. You see, the day I uploaded, you see the spike again. Now, of those, as you can see here, this is the last 28 days between May 14 and June 10. June 10 is how many days ago? That should be 2 days ago. Between that day, see how many people have seen my videos. 11,000 people have seen my videos. And at 2% click-through rate, people who truly watched the video are 228 people. Now, of these 228 people, that is 11,000 people saw it, 228 people watched it, and it has resulted in 15 hours of watch time. Now, on YouTube, watch hour is more important than the number of subscribers you have. And by the way, in order for you to understand the optimize for search that I said earlier on, look at here. Let me clean up this so that you can see what I'm referring to. Look at here. Look at here. You can see YouTube search accounts for 12.4% of my views. Look at of my traffic. Look at browse features means that browse features means homepage, suggested video. Oh, I wish I can click more so that you see suggested videos. But you can see that YouTube search accounts for 12.4% of total views of this total impression. I hope you're getting me right now. I hope it's becoming clearer that there is a lot more that you can do with YouTube. And it's not just that you are just uploading video. But you need to be strategic, you need to be tactical. So at this point, let me pause a little and take some of your questions. Shagun says, see opportunities. Robo say, yeah, getting the gist. Amazing. So if you have questions at this point, I would like to take your questions. And shortly, we'll jump you into how to get started. So how to actually get started. This is where I'm going to share with you exactly what you need to do in order to get started with all of this. If this is useful to you, also let me know. If this is useful to you, let me know. Let me know if it is useful to you as well. And by the way, let me jump into my dashboard right now. Let me jump into my own dashboard right now, into Audacity2Lead's dashboard right now, and see what's going on. So I'm checking to see your comments. I'm checking to see your comments. I'm checking to see your comments to see what you. So please ask whatever questions it is you want to ask right now. Let me know what you think at this moment. Let me know what you think. So while I'm waiting for that, let me continue here. So how to get started? How can you get started with all of this? I'm going to share with you just 4 or 5, I think 3 or 4 things that you can do to get started today. Number 1 is to work on the scene. Remember that what you're doing is video podcast, right? And you are doing video YouTube, and you're also doing podcast. So the first thing you want to focus on is the scene. Now, when I say the scene, look at my video here. This is my own personal video that I uploaded 2017, September 26, 2017. And look at how the video looked like. And those days I actually thought I was doing fine video, but look at how it looked. Now, apart from the fact that the background is distracting, the other thing is the angle of the camera was also it kind of looks like it's a condescending scene, like you are looking at somebody. So in order for you to watch me here, it's like I'm looking down on you. That's how it looks right now. This is not a good scene. But look at this one. This is a good scene, but the background is already absorbing myself such that you can't even clearly see me from the background. Do you get that? Here is a different scene. This one, between that time, this was 2017. Between 2017 and interestingly, 2017 happens to be the last time I produced a video for my own channel until I started with this video in January last year. And look at this was the scene. But the problem with this scene is that my face was not visible enough. Well, that was because of the person who was handling the camera. And by the way, these 3 videos were all done with a phone. So it's not even about the tech. It's not like going to get camera. It's not going to get big stuff. They were all done with a phone. So, but this video did really well. Within the first few days, it had over 100 views. It got me my first 50 subscribers, this video. But it was because it had a good scene and I did a good work with the message and the editing, the way I produced the video. This was the first video that we produced on Audacity2Lead channel. This is the first ever video that we released. As at the last time I took this screenshot, it already had 688 views. And this is my studio. Now, you remember the other time I was saying that my studio has different parts. This is one part of the studio. So look at this view here. It looks very interesting compared with what you are seeing on your screen right now, with me on your screen right now. This one that you're looking at right now, it looks a lot more appealing compared to this on my screen right now. Now, the interesting thing is just do the one that you know how to do. You don't have to kill yourself. You don't have to expend a lot of money in order to create very interesting videos. You can actually create a good video if you know how to handle the tools that you have. And because I have currently begun to champion the use of mobile phones so that people can utilize their mobile phones in the boot camp that is coming up, I'm going to be showing you how to edit, how to record, particularly how to record, because the major tool of recording should be your phone. If you don't have a camera, your major tool for recording should be your phone. You can now do editing with a laptop like I do. So for example, all my videos are recorded with my phone. Right now, what am I using to do this one right now? This is just a webcam. This is just Logitech C920 webcam that I was just put on a tripod stand so that I can have it stand in my front. But anytime I'm doing a video, what I do is I put my phone on the stand and I sit down looking at the camera and of course do the video. What is more important is the scene surrounding the video. That's the most important part. I've seen videos of people that are very, very distracting. I mean, the background was very, very distracting. So what you want to do is you want to work on having less distracting stuff in your video. So in this case, look at this right now. I have just a dark background with my books, with my bookshelf in my back. If you have a bookshelf tend to look very interesting in videos. You don't necessarily have to use a bookshelf for your own studio. If you can create a plain background, and I wish I can do a lot more than what I'm doing right now to show you how this actually works, so that you can see how it's just a couple of lighting. You can create a very, very interesting studio. So for example, let me turn off this light right now. Let me turn off this studio light right now. Let me turn off this studio light right now so that you can see the studio light right here right now. Now look at this is how the studio looks without the light. But you can see in order to make the scene more interesting, I'm simply using a light like this. And because it's an RGB light, I can adjust the color. I can change it from whatever color it is that I want. And as you can see, what are you noticing? Are you noticing that the mood created by this light tends to be changing? So you can have any mood that you want to have depending on what you want to talk about. So you can basically move from one color to another color to another color. Now, how does this work? Well, you can check the description as well. The link to this slide is in the description, so you can even get that right now without even having to wait and spend any extra time. Now, the interesting thing, if you are using a plain background, you can basically put this light behind you like this and sit down like this, and the light will still be creating very interesting scene. So even if it's a plain background, and you can move it, you can use it anyhow you prefer to use it. Are you getting what I'm trying to explain here? So your scene is a very, very important part of your video. Always put that in mind. Now, number two is the content. People come to your video not because of the scene. People come because of the content. People come to your video not because they want to come and see how fine your video is. They come specifically for the content. Now, based on my own person, as Dio Samuel, some people are following my YouTube channel not necessarily because of the content, but because they want to see how I edit, how I produce my videos, the kind of ideas I put into what I do. That is why some people follow my channel. And I can't deceive myself. There are people who watch me for the things that I do rather than the content that I put out. So it's not really the content that fascinates them. What fascinates them about me is the way I do things. And if you have people like that, it's very okay. So now when it comes to content, how do you make your content searchable, optimized for suggested video, optimized for playlists so that people can discover you even on their own page? Well, it comes to this. As long as you're not a comedian, if you're a comedian, you can do any video that you like and people will still find it. In fact, your video will go viral without anybody being able to search for it in Google and even on YouTube. So how do you then make your video searchable? How do you create video that is relevant to people? Now, there are two parts to every content you want to put, whether in your video or your podcast. And now I'm going to be narrowing down to video because it is from the video that you want to record for. You just maximize for audio, right? So for audio, now I'm not going to even talk about tech here because you can utilize any tech to get the results you are looking for. So I'm not going to be focusing on the tech. I'm just going to show you how this works. Now, what I want you to first of all understand is that there is what you want to say and there is what people are interested in. If what you want to say is not what people are interested in, they will snooze. And you can lose before. How do you say you snooze? If you let people snooze, you lose. If people snooze, you lose. Because if people snooze, that means that once they start watching you and they say, I'm not interested in this thing, they get away. So you lose audience retention. Of course, if it's podcast, people will still listen to it anyway. But if it's video, they'll quickly bounce off and say, I'm not interested in this guy. Let me go to something else that I'm interested in. But if you want to create a video that gets people engaged, what you need to do is to find the relevance between what you want to say and what they are interested in. Now, how do you do this? Well, first thing, let's talk about what they are interested in. In order to find what people are interested in, we need to understand that people type phrases into search engines called keyword phrases. Now, what you want to do is you want to find and use these keyword phrases for your own content. So even though you want to create a content on this plastic in my hand here, even though the content you want to create is about this plastic in my hand here, before you record, you want to actually research. That is how someone says it. Says you research before you record. You first of all find out what people are interested in before you press record. If you don't do that, you will record what you are interested in, and people will not be interested in that. Do you get that? You don't want that to happen. The reason why many of my videos get views within the first few days of publishing them is because I'm pushing out videos that I know that people are interested in, not just videos that I'm interested in. Now, why did I run two channels? Just in case you are thinking. The first reason I run two channels is because Audacity2Lead is a different company than Dio Samuel Research Multiversity. So I had to create two channels to manage the two of them. But the main reason why I did that is because Audacity2Lead focuses on helping businesses. Dial Samuel does not focus so much on businesses. Dial Samuel is a therapy, training, coaching company. Audacity2Lead is a combination of coaching, consulting, and digital media. So at first, I started creating content related to content creation, um, business on my channel. And of course, those are the videos that have the highest rank, highest views. Some of the videos that have the highest views on my own personal channel. But as people kept asking me questions, I kept asking me questions. And I was like, well, how do I do this now? I don't want this channel to be so muddled up that you get to see all kind of scattered ideas everywhere. So I said, okay, in order to narrow things down, let me create a specific channel for that to lead where we get to attend to everything related to business, online media, podcast, video. We are going to put them on Audacity2Lead while that Samuel continues to handle personal things. Do you get it now? That was why I created the two channels. But the thing is, if everything you do, if you can find the line between everything you do, which I'm going to talk about in the second workshop anyway, you are going to see in the next second workshop how to actually put everything together, how you can create what I call pillar content, such that your pillar content now feeds off your channel. You are going to see how that is done. So what I decided to do is, rather than have everything scattered everywhere, let me put them in the proper places. Now, I am separate from Audacity2Lead. Audacity2Lead is separate from me. In my own, in that ESRM, I am trying to employ people. I'm trying to work with a new team that is completely different from the team I've been working with at Audacity2Lead. Do you get it now? And so these are two different brands. I had to separate them. Now, how do you find what people are interested in? I'm going to show you shortly. But then, what you want to say, you want to focus it on the problem and help them solve it. Now, a lot of times you don't have to do an how-to video in order to create solution to a problem. You don't have to create an how-to video. How-to happens to be one of the most Googled phrases when people are looking for solution to problems. So that is why I use a lot of how-tos myself. But you can create any content without using how-to. For example, a few days ago, I created the old media versus new media, 6 podcasting tips for businesses. And that's a title that did not include how to. But that content is being consumed and is searchable, is findable. You may be asking right now, what is the part that people are interested in? Well, two parts. I found that people are searching for new media versus old media. And I also found that people are searching for podcasting tips. So I combined that together to create the title. Now, how to create title from what people are searching is something that we will also cover in the boot camp that is coming up. So this is how you want to do it. Now, if you go on YouTube and you type how to, for example, you will see all of different things pop up on your screen. Now, when these things pop up like that, what this is telling you is that people are already searching for all of these things. People have already typed it into YouTube. Sometimes, if you go on Google as well, if you type things, sometimes Google will try to help you complete it based on what other people have typed. You will be wise to utilize what Google is suggesting to you, or what YouTube is suggesting to you as what other people have searched for, in order for you to use that for your own content. That way, you know that if anybody types that, your content will most likely show up. Now, if I select how to use StreamYard on YouTube, for example, well, this is based on some tools that I use. This is vidIQ here. Look at what it says here. Look at what it says here. So now this is the search. This is what I search. So when I type how to, I saw this, how to use StreamYard on YouTube. Not like I don't know. I knew, but I just wanted to use this as an example. And when I pressed enter, see what it came up. Highest video for this keyword, for this phrase, how to use StreamYard on YouTube. The highest video has 290 views. The average view for all videos is 35,000. Then the average subscriber has the average channel with average subscriber has 101,000. How many videos have been added in the last 7 days related to this keyword? Is 0. How many of these videos have captions? 6. What's the average age of each video for them to blow up? 3 years. How many keywords are in title? How many of them have how to use StreamYard on YouTube as their title? Only 1. How many of them have it in their description? Is 0. Who is the top creator? Desiree Martinez. Now, using this data here, if you create a video based on how to use StreamYard on YouTube, your video is going to likely come up in this place, added last 7 days. You will likely show up here. If you add caption, you will likely be added to this. If you add it in your title, you will likely be added to this. If you add it in your description, you have it here. Do you get that? And look and see here, it says that this search phrase scores 70 out of 100, which means that volume, people are searching for it here. Competition is very low. So it means that if you use this kind of keyword based on what people are searching for, if you use it, you will most likely come up in people's search results. Even when they don't use how to use StreamYard on YouTube, even if they type how to use StreamYard, you will still show up. And look at using a different tool called TubeBuddy. Of course, you can install all of that from the description below. This one says the video is good. The search is poor because there are not too many people searching for it, but the result is excellent. Competition, you have excellent in the sense that there is less competition, even though the search result is even though there are not too many people searching for it. But you can see how this helps you to create content. So if I'm going to create a video right now, and the video is about this software I'm currently using to stream this video right now. I'm using StreamYard to stream this video right now. If I'm going to create a video, what title do you think I'm going to use based on what I'm seeing here? Of course, I'm going to title it How to Use StreamYard on YouTube. Why? Because that is what people are already searching for, and there are not too many videos available that answer this question. Do you get this now? So that is number one. If you are getting me, please let me know in the comments. So it's called keyword search and it's called optimization. So what that means is you're optimizing your video for search. Now, another thing I need to also mention here is the part where it says that, let me see, where it says times in title. That part is very important. What that means is how many times did somebody use this in title? Only one person has used it in title of all the different results that it shows. And how many people use how to use StreamYard on YouTube in their description? Nobody used it. What does that suggest? It means if you create a video, you need to have both your title and your description. There are two important parts you need to focus on. So you need to write your title in a way that adds the keyword. You also need to write your description in a way that also confirms the keyword in the title. Do you understand that? That is a classic way of getting more people to see your videos. But if you just create a video off your head and you just create a video, the video is not something people are looking for. It's only people who know you that will see the video. People who don't know you will most likely not see the video because they will not be searching for what you wrote from your own mind. And you know the best way to enjoy YouTube. Now, the interesting thing, if you create your video based on using search like this, optimizing it for keywords like this, even people who know you, sometimes you get to answer their question because they may be trying to search for something like that. For example, I recently did a video on Zoom for Android, and guess what happened? Somebody said, I have been looking for this. But the person was not the person that asked me to do the video. The person that made me to do the video asked me a question, please, how can I do so and so and so on Zoom? And I said, what are you using? He said, I'm using my phone. I said, what type of phone? He said, Android. I said, okay, let me do a video. I'm going to share it with you. After I recorded the video, I sent it to that person first. Do you get it now? And when somebody else had the same problem, because I had created something that had solved the problem for. Now, after the person told me of that, you know what I did? I came to this tool, started searching for what I need to use, how I need to title the video, how I need to do it so that the video is also found by people who don't know me. Because, of course, you don't want to do business for just the people who know you, do you? Do you want to be creating content for just the people who know you? You need to create content for the people who don't know you so that they can discover you, right? And you know what happened? The video, in fact, let me go and check the analytics for the video right now. That video about Zoom on Android. Let me check right now. Let me check right now and see how many and see how the video is doing. Where's the video? Right here. Okay, so the interesting thing is that I simply just when I searched, I found that Zoom on Android, using Zoom on Android was a phrase that I can rank for. And so I created a video and I call it using Zoom on Android, how to use Zoom meeting on Android. And that's simply how I titled it. Guess what? The video has brought me 517 impressions, 2.1 click-through rate, and the biggest place where the video is being found is YouTube search. 35.7% result from YouTube search. So you see, these are things that you can begin to do, and you begin to have more people discover your videos. But if you're just creating videos based on just what you have in your own head, many people will not discover it. And your video will just be buried away on YouTube, just like many of those videos that I showed you. Like the video I released last year, January, that video of gratitude. The only reason why I had over 100 views is because it was people that knew me that watched the video. Before I could master to do, I need to say here, before I could master this, it was around July, August last year that I mastered how to do this. Before then, it was by trial and error. But particularly, I mastered it very well in November and December. So it was when I mastered it that I now created Audacity2Lead channel. And Audacity2Lead channel, the videos are being found constantly. Unlike my own personal channel that is not often being found. Do you get it? So don't make my own mistake. Start off on a good note. Segment says, what is the best free video software app? Also, the best paid app as well. When you say best free video software app, are you saying video recording or video editing? Because there are different apps for that. So I need to be clear on that. Then Robo says, TubeBuddy, and what are you using to search? TubeBuddy alone can actually do it for you, but I'm combining TubeBuddy with vidIQ. vidIQ, TubeBuddy and vidIQ are both Chrome extensions that you install. They work specifically with YouTube. TubeBuddy is easier to understand, but vidIQ has some details that I'm still trying to learn right now. But I've mastered TubeBuddy. When I said I mastered this thing that time, what I meant is I mastered TubeBuddy around November last year. Up until that time, I just installed it. I didn't know how to use it. I didn't know how best to even create good results with it. So I hope that answers your question. So let me know if it does. So again, if you have any questions, please ask in the comments. Let me know. Remember, this is a workshop. It is meant for you. By the time we are coming next, by Monday, when we are going to do part 2 of this session, we are now going to get into more details of how all of this works. Okay, so Shegun says video editing. Well, for me, the best free video editing app is also the best paid editing app. For video editing, an app that I've used before that has worked very well, even though the learning curve is steep, the app that I've used before is DaVinci Resolve. It's completely free. You're not paying one naira for anything, and it does a really, really good job. In fact, I've seen movies that have been edited using DaVinci Resolve. So DaVinci works very fine. Now, if you're installing TubeBuddy, use the link in the description to install so that I get credit for bringing you in. You're not costing you, you're not paying anything. It's just free anyway, but I get credit for bringing you in. For video editing, the best software that I know right now that I've used, I have experienced is Filmora. So currently, Filmora is my own software. That's the software I use to edit all of my videos. In fact, if I was doing this as a video that is recorded rather than being streamed, I would have been using Filmora to edit it because I love the interface. is the learning curve is not as steep as the Vinci Resolve, and it's basically a professional editing app for beginners. That's how Filmora works. And by the way, you can check you can check the channel. You can check our channel here. You'll find some videos. I think I've done one video on Filmora. Now, the interesting thing is because we are progressing, we are growing. Over time, you'll begin to see other people handle videos on Audacity2Lead. That's not going to be me. That's coming up shortly. And interestingly, because Audacity2Lead, okay, maybe by the time we come for the one on Monday, how to create your content strategy. By the time we come up with that on Monday, how to find your niche, how to create content, and all of that. By the time we do that on Monday, you will see how everything that we do on Audacity2Lead ties together, so that you understand that, okay, so even though it looks like we're talking about Zoom, we're talking about Google Meet, everything still comes down under just 3 umbrellas. You'll see how that works by the time we meet on Monday for the second session. Okay, so let's move on from here. Let's continue this conversation here. Now, number 3, remember that we're talking about how to get started, right? So number 1 is the scene. Number 2 is the content. Number 3 is the system. YouTube and podcasts are effective systems for attracting new clients, generating leads, qualified leads, because available 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So if you do your YouTube and your podcast well, they become a kind of automated system that keeps generating qualified leads. People watch your video, then they click from your video to something you tell them to go and do, and people follow your call to action. For example, I have personally tested this out. Under my own personal channel, I put a link to my booking, to my call session, to my booking app, and I get to speak with people on a regular basis. So people use the call app. They schedule a call. We get to speak on Zoom, and then some of them have gone on to enroll in paid products. Some of them have said, okay, right now I don't have the capacity to handle that, and they continue with their lives. But the session have kept on going. Now imagine if that is part of your business strategy. Imagine how many leads you'll be getting. That is, everybody. If out of 200 people that watch your video, 2 people get into a personal one-on-one contact with you, and that happens, maybe you do that every day, every week, or maybe it's even an online course that you have. People watch your videos and go take your online course, like it happened for my course recently. I launched a course on Udemy and just picked one part of the course, put it up on YouTube, and today the course has over 9,000 people who have joined the course. But I didn't share the course first. What I did is to first share the video. The video, first of all, sent people to the course. And interestingly, some of the people who went to see the course now started sending it to other people that they knew. And today, 9,000 people have enrolled in that course. And the funny thing is that the course is still available on YouTube. People are still going from YouTube to the course, even as I speak. Do you get that? So you can set up all of these systems in a way that every day, every hour, every week, around the year, something keeps functioning, even when you are not fully online. Moving forward, this is a system that I designed, that how podcasts can work. So you can have your video podcast. It serves your email list. It serves your social media. It serves iTunes and 9 other platforms. Even at that, the podcast still serves your website, because you can integrate your YouTube videos, you can integrate your podcast into your website. And of course, that can go on to what I call PPS. And PPS simply means, let me write it beside it here, product. So I might need to clean up that. So PPS simply means product, program, service. These are 3 ways you can monetize any video podcast: a product, a program, and a service. And if I'm going to add another one, you can add this 4th one, which is the popular one, sponsorship. So this is the fourth one, sponsorship. So you can basically run a podcast and people listen to your video podcast or listen to your YouTube, and they go from your podcast, from the content that you're pushing out, they go to your email list, they go to your social media, maybe Instagram, whatever it is you wanted to go. They go listen to the audio version on iTunes, or they go over to your website, or they go over to your product, to your program, to your service, or whatever that you have in place for people to get. Do you understand how this system works? Now, this system, how to set it up, how to do all the tiny details is what we are going to be covering in YouTube and Podcast Profits Bootcamp, which is coming up in the next few days. That's when we open up registration for that. And I hope that you are going to join us in that so that we can work together. Some of these things that I've learned and began to use for myself, so that you can also learn it for yourself as well. Now, number 4 part of how to get started is you. And this part is as important as the scene, is as important as the content, is as important as the system you set up. You are the most important element of running all of this. For example, the way I like to always say it is that YouTube is called YouTube because it is for you. You are the person who gets into the tube. And so if you don't utilize YouTube as you, we will be missing you. Oh, I think I just arrived. I think I just arrived. Very interesting. If you don't utilize YouTube as you, because you are the most important element of YouTube, we will be missing you. So you can't come on YouTube and pretend to be like somebody. You can't come on YouTube and try to put up a facade. You need to be your true self on YouTube. How do you do that? Well, there are 4 elements to being you, especially when it comes to creating content, whether podcast or YouTube or even social media content. But for this case, I'm going to focus on YouTube and podcast. If you want to create content, you need to understand that the content, first of all, is coming from you. And so the content can go in 4 directions. First direction is your wow. And when I say your wow, I'm referring to what lights you up, what excites you. And this is the part where I want you to pick your pen and your paper right now, if you can. And I want you to answer some of these questions right now. What is your wow? What is that thing that lights you up? What is it that gets you excited? If you are going to run YouTube or you are going to run a podcast and you are not doing something that excites you, you are going to, as soon as possible, run out of content ideas. For example, I am at that point in my own journey where I'm kind of considering, should I focus majorly on Audacity2Lead because Audacity2Lead is getting a lot of traction? How should I abandon Dio somewhere? But because I understand that the 2 of them have different organizations backing them, I'm considerate enough to say, okay, while I'm still working on Audacity2Lead, of course, I'm going to grow Audacity2Lead to the point where it's going to run without me so that I can continue to focus on Dio Samuel. But that's a journey. That's a process. Right? I need to set up all the input that need to go in there. The content that excites me, as at this point, happen to be the content that go for Dio Samuel and the content that go for Audacity2Lead. So I'm combining the 2 of them. While I have 2 different things that excite me, I'm not packing them into one place. But for you, what excites you? What lights you up? I want you to write that down. That is your wow. And this element of your wow, nobody else can bring it to YouTube. You are the only person that can bring it on YouTube. So again, as I said, YouTube is a tube for you because you are the most important element in all of this. Second thing is your wisdom. And when I say your wisdom simply refers to your experience, your education, your expertise, your knowledge, and like I always like to say, your gift, experience, education, expertise, and knowledge. So what is it that you have experience in? What are some of the experiences you've had in your life? What is your education, the things you studied? What is your expertise? What do you know how to do very, very well? And what knowledge are you trying to bring? Do you understand now? Now, these two things are very important. These are 2 out of 4. So I want you to write down right now, what is your experience? What is your education? What is your expertise? What is your knowledge? This is what makes up your wisdom. The reason why YouTube has over 30 million, close to 1,000 videos, if not more, would have been uploaded on YouTube between when we started this video and now. You know the interesting thing? What's going to separate all those videos from what I am currently doing right now is because this is my own wisdom. I'm not trying to copy other people. I'm not trying to copy my own wow and utilizing my own wisdom. Do you get that now? And I know some religious people, even God, who put the wisdom inside of you, knows that at one point it needs to become your wisdom. And if you think that heresy, let me explain something to you. The wisest person, in this, according to Bible history, by the name King Solomon, God gave him wisdom. Described by said that Solomon's wisdom was greater than all of the men of the earth. Now the question is, between the two verses, what happened? After God gave him wisdom, Solomon also went after knowledge. He developed experience. He developed expertise. And so by the time he was now dishing it out, that God is God's wisdom that you have. Don't deceive yourself. Oh. You have your wisdom. And your wisdom is an important element of what people need on YouTube. Moving on. Number 3 is your wit. And when I say your wit simply means to what is your story? What are your beliefs? What are your philosophies? What are your own ideologies? Your ideology, your wit is usually required in order to create a polarization of audience. For example, there are people who cannot listen to me. Why? Because they will not agree with my beliefs, because they will not agree with my philosophy. I know the interesting thing, that is okay, because as a thought leader, you are leading thinking, you are leading people's thinking. You are not regurgitating what other people are doing. So you need to understand that your wit, your story, your beliefs, your philosophy, and keep it somewhere and say, let me just create this content that people want. Now, you remember that I said that what you want to say, match it with what people are interested in. So this part now, you are seeing that we are focusing on what you do, because that is how you create relevance and that's how you can last. I've seen people start YouTube and they burnt out simply because they were not creating content that they love. They were creating content that people love, not what they love. If you want to see one of such examples, let me not mention him. Let me not mention him. So if you are getting me right now, you matrix is what I call your why. Why does it matter to you? So if you are getting on YouTube, you need to know why YouTube does it matter to you. You need to know why. And as someone once said, if you don't have a why, you will not be able to find a way. Something like that. According to man's search for meaning, they can go through anyhow. That is whatever it is that is happening, whatever situation you are in. If you have a strong enough thing, I want you to pay attention to today. And this is what I want you to work on. And I want you to share that with me in the comments. Or if you are not very comfortable sharing in the comments, you can share your wisdom. What is your wit? What is your balance together? What you then have is you have a unique channel, a unique podcast that is specifically unique to you. So even if you are bringing in guests, you bring in guests to continue to spread this you element. So this is you in your full glory. Do you get it now? So you need to do that. So as I said earlier on, YouTube is a TV, your TV channel, and you can have multifaceted shows. The strategy, however, is that you need to start with one and then you add more with time. So you can start a YouTube where all that you are sharing is just your wow, what lights you up. Of course, the way I've shared with you now, you can bring all of them together into maybe a couple of pillars that allow you to explore all that you are. YouTube is a TV, and as a TV, it can have many programs. The difference is that you need to organize the programs in a way that make it interesting for people to watch. So, for example, we are doing this on this YouTube right now. So, just to give you a little understanding, we are doing this here on YouTube right now. Why? Because I also want the subscribers on this channel to have an inkling into some of the things that are coming. Because the way Audacity2Lead is a growing company, and it keeps growing and it keeps growing and it keeps growing and it keeps growing. And so we can't be limited to one thing, but we can't do everything at once. You get that? Now, I'm going to end this session with the conversation here. Why is it that many don't start, even though a lot of people already watch thousands of videos on YouTube? A lot of people watch a lot of tutorials. In fact, some of you probably already know many of these things that I'm talking about right now. So why is it that many people don't start? Why is it that many people don't get to start a YouTube channel? Why is it that they don't get to start a podcast? What is the main reason? Well, in my own work as a coach and as a therapist, I found two core reasons that I'm going to share here. Number one reason is, or let me say it this way, why is it that when they tell you that just press record, just record something, why is it that it still doesn't work when they tell you to press record? Of course, like they say, they will tell you to do it afraid. Why is it that it doesn't work every time? Well, the reason why I can't just press record is because of this, and it's called performance anxiety. Thank you, Ima. It says confidence. Very true. And confidence is often affected by performance anxiety. Now, what is performance anxiety? It is when you are being in the spotlight. It is the anxiety, the fear that grips you, the lack of confidence that grips you when you are in the spotlight. When it's now time for show, or like StreamYard notified me earlier on that it's show time. When you get to see notification that it is show time, and you are not ready for show time, or you don't seem to have the confidence for that show time. So performance anxiety is when you are thrust in the spotlight like that. And this often happens with public speaking, sharing your ideas in a meeting deadlines, not comfortable on camera. Now, any of these, and there might be plenty of other things, but the performance anxiety usually results when you come under the spotlight, when attention shifts to you. Now, I want to ask you right now. Now, of course, many of you know that I have been teaching podcasts since 2015. I've been teaching people podcasts since 2015. I've been a podcast consultant and a podcast coach since that long. And having had over 1,000 people taking my courses, till now, I don't have up to 1,000 people. I don't have up to 500 people who run a podcast. Why? Simply because performance anxiety. They're afraid. They don't know how their voice will sound. They don't like how they will look on camera. I'm not comfortable on camera. I don't like how this, I don't like that. And all the excuses continue. So I want you to tell me right now in the comments right now, do you recognize this? Do you identify with this? Let me know. Let me know right now in the comments. Do you identify with this? Okay. Emmanuel says fear, confidence. That's right. That's right. That's right. So fear stops a lot of people from getting to start all of this. And of course, that may help you understand why I've been in the campaign for fear for as many years as 2017 and now. That's the reason why I began to focus on helping people overcome their fears. Because I noticed that as I was teaching people to start podcasts, a lot of people could not start. Why? Because they are afraid, because they just can't get themselves to do it. And so that became a pattern of problem that I began to notice with many people. And I said, what if I can solve that? And of course, at that point, I'd already had training in therapy, I'd already had training in coaching. And so it was easy for me to deploy some of those skills to help people. So Ma says, yes, so I identify with this. So fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. I know a lot of people will identify with this. And the reason, one of the reasons why they will identify with this is because everybody has fears. In fact, that's one thing I usually say in fear is solve process. Everyone has fears. It's just that our fears are different from each other. There's no single person on the face of the earth who is fearless. Anybody who tells you that I'm fearless, it's a lie. It's just that their fear has not shown up in the way that they want it to show up. Some people may not be afraid of physical things. Their fear could be an unconscious bias that they have. But everybody has fears, and everybody will experience their fears at least in their lifetime. Do you understand now? Now, something just happened right now. The battery of my light just went off. And so I changed the light in my front. I changed how it looks. And look at again, with nothing special here. Look at how this lighting is right now. Can you see? So there's power in lighting. Anyway, when we get to that part, of course, if you had downloaded the file, the YouTube kit that I shared with you, you'd already know where to get the light right now, how I got all my own lights. Now, what causes performance anxiety? Well, based on my own research, I found 3 causes for performance anxiety. Number 1 is childhood trauma of performing. And this happens when you were growing up. Maybe you were like me. You used to sing and dance and make noise in the house. But one day, one of your parents told you, you are disturbing our peace. Keep quiet. And that message of keep quiet was reinforced constantly until the point where you now became introverted. So anytime you want to come on camera, anytime you want to come on this thing, and of course, especially when it happens within the first 7 years of your life, when you are living more in an unconscious state than conscious state, when you now grew up, you now begin to have the feeling of, are you sure somebody will not tell me to shut up? Are you sure somebody will not tell me to keep quiet? Or maybe sometimes you're even hearing that voice of keep quiet, like I was hearing when I first started my own podcast. When I first started my podcast, I had recorded the first episode, and for maybe 3 or 4 months, I could not publish it. Why? Because I was afraid my parents might listen to it and tell me, Daya, what is this that you are doing again? But of course, now our relationship is a lot more better than what it was before. But it started with me understanding that I am in the driver's seat of my life, and my parents can only tell me their own perspective. I still have the right to either choose and accept the beliefs they want to pass on to me. Number 2 way that I found that performance anxiety starts is when you have deep-seated beliefs. Deep-seated beliefs typically are not the beliefs that you are conscious of. They are unconscious biases you have towards things. So if you have a deep-seated belief that tech is difficult, you have a deep-seated belief that something is not easy to do. If you beliefs are easy to transfer. You can easily transfer from one area of your life to another area of your life without questioning the validity of that belief. And so you simply transfer it to another area of your life. And now you want to do podcast, you want to do a YouTube video. And while you want to record, and for your information, I still experience nervousness every time I want to record video. I don't, however, experience nervousness when I go live. You know why that is happening? Let me explain to you. After I started podcast, I don't like showing my face on video. So you will hardly ever see me do a video. But when I wanted to break that frame of doing video, I started doing it more with live video. So I'll just carry my phone, go live. So a lot of times I was going live inside NPN, going live on my own YouTube, on my own Facebook page. I was just doing live back to back, doing live back to back. But I was not doing a video where I know that I had to organize everything before I go live. And so now I'm more comfortable doing live videos than doing a pre-recorded video. But you know the interesting thing, I can't continue to do live videos every day because even YouTube right now, recently YouTube now adjusted their system so that when you do a live video, it begins to show as uploaded. But before, live videos and uploaded videos were separate. So if you do a live video, it's not going to be found. That was what I used to notice before. So live videos were not findable, they are not optimized for search. But because recently they have now matched the two of them together, so that after maybe some hours, your live video becomes uploaded video. So it changes and becomes video that people can search, people that can. So I began to understand when I began to understand that, I said, okay, now I can begin to do YouTube live again. But when I sit down in front of a camera to record, I still get these jittery feelings. But you know the interesting thing? I know that it doesn't last. It is just my brain trying to resist what is going on, what I'm trying to do. And so I need you to understand right now that anything you are afraid of, most times it's happening in your head. And typically, it's either coming from a place of what has happened in the past or what you are projecting into the future. Now, number three, a cause of performance anxiety is negative mental images. If you are playing the image of, this thing will spoil, this thing will go bad. What if my live video, what if network goes up? Like I am currently on a low data and I know that the data may finish anytime, but I'm not even disturbed anyway because I know if it finishes last thing, I will subscribe again. Do you understand? But when when the video froze that time, what did I do? I simply switched to my phone and continued anyway and said the freezing would not stop me from doing what I needed to do. Do you understand? But if you keep playing negative mental images, it's going to create a lot more anxiety for you. So this is the first reason why many people don't start YouTube, why many people don't start podcast. And I hope that this is helpful to you. If it is helpful to you right now, say yes in the comments. Let me know that it did help. Number two is unconscious myths and beliefs that you have. And for these unconscious myths and beliefs, I will need here to actually mention a couple of them. Number one is that maybe you have been told that you have to have an audience already before you can start a YouTube channel, or that you have to have an audience podcast. The thing is, it's not true. It is when you start that you will build the audience. If you have an audience before, maybe you are very, very vocal online, you are very, very active online, and people already know you, that is an advantage when you are starting your YouTube channel or starting a podcast because you can easily move those people over to your new platform. And by the way, if you are the type of person who likes writing more than speaking, you can package your writing, even though you may have written it on Facebook, you may actually transfer your writing as a video on YouTube, and it's going to be a written video. So you may not even necessarily need to show your face. And if you can check our channel, you find 5 ways you can create videos without necessarily showing your face. I've actually done a video on that. So you can check that. Even if you are uncomfortable on camera, you can check videos for that here on our channel. Thank you. Imai says, yes, it is helpful. Amazing. That people have. Number 2 myths that people believe in is you need to be a fluent speaker or storyteller or great interviewer in order to have a YouTube channel or to have a podcast. The thing is a lie. When I started my own podcast back in 2014, my accent was very, very coarse. My accent was very, very raw. In fact, at that time in 2014, before 2014, because I had been in Benue as of 2010, 2011, I'd been in Benue. So when I was starting podcasts in 2014, I was still in Benue. Before I started the podcasts, as soon as I got to Benue in 2010, 2011, anytime I'm talking, people ask me, are you a Yoruba guy? I'll say yes. They'll say, very good, very interesting, very interesting. So I became curious to find out why do people always ask me that question. And so when I began to ask people that were close to me, they said it's because Yoruba accent, a thick Yoruba accent. I remember after I started my own podcast, somebody even called me and said that you are a why do you talk like Baba Ijebu? And so the person began to call me Baba Ijebu. And I remember because of my accent, one lady even labeled me that you're a broke ass pastor. So I became broke ass Baba Ijebu. But the interesting thing is that that was just their own perception of me. That is not completely true. Yes, I have accent, but every human being on the face of the earth has accent. It's either you have an original accent or you have a copied accent or inherited accent. Do you get that? So you can have accent that you copy, you can have accent that you inherit, or you can have an original accent. So, for example, if I speak in Yoruba, that is supposed to be an original accent. If I speak English and you can hear Yoruba in it, that's an inherited accent. But if I switch to okay, right now, so you need to be a fluent speaker or storyteller to be a great interviewer in order to be a YouTube. That is a fake accent. That is, I'm copying that accent. And in fact, a few days ago, while we were watching BB Nigeria recap reunion, one lady started talking normally. And then in a split of a second, she just switched to phone. I was like, are you kidding me? And instantly, even when I did not talk, everybody in the room just noticed and said, what happened? I said, you were talking on Manana. Why did not switch to speaking phone? So sometimes people can buy and learn phone in order to make themselves feel confident. But you know the interesting thing? Phone is not content. Question: do you watch Indian movies? Do they try to speak like Americans? Do you watch American movies? Do they try to speak like somebody from Uganda? Do Ghanaians try to speak like Nigerians? If no, now killing yourself over an accent. The accent is not as important as the content. I know YouTube channels that are owned by Indians. They don't even speak English. I have seen vidIQ Spanish. They don't even speak English. And they have amassed hundreds of thousands of subscribers. One even has millions of subscribers. For example, Sadhguru, for example, doesn't speak clean English. He speaks accented English. But people listen to him. Why? Because the accent is not what makes you a YouTuber. It's not what makes you a podcaster. It is the content and it is the you. Your accent is just only a flair. It's only a part of you. Now, for me, it took me this understanding in order for me to become fluent. I wasn't fluent before I started. So it was when I became aware that I can actually be comfortable in my accent, because every human being on the earth has an accent. Some others only try to copy other people's accents that's not original to who they are. The moment I had that understanding, it simply liberated me, made me freer to do videos. It made me freer to record podcasts. And interestingly, at that point, people noticed that I had more control over my voice, because the truth is, you can speak accents in a way that is easy to understand. So, for example, let me give you a little practically here. If I begin to talk this way right now, it is going to be easy for me to make mistakes, and it will become very evident that I'm making mistakes. But if I switch my voice to this level right now, even you listening to me right now, I sound more authoritative, isn't it? In fact, if I say I want to do a voiceover right now, with this voice right now, I will sound as if I'm not the same Daya Samuel. But the interesting thing is that it's still Daya Samuel. And if I choose, I can switch again and say that I want to talk anyhow. I want to do so. It depends on how you are using your vocal cords. It is not necessarily the accent that makes you speak well. Now, my wife used to ask me that when you talk on stage, your voice is different from when you are doing live video and when we are even at home. And I explained to her that sometimes it's because I know that at that point I need to speak clearly so that other people who are not from the same tribe as myself and who are not from the same nation as myself can hear me. So I have to enunciate my words clearly so that they can hear me. But the same enunciation that I said now, I could say that I need to enunciate my words clearly. You wouldn't understand what I just said. So I needed to somehow slow down and pronounce those words clearly. In fact, if you turn on captions right now, you will see that what I am saying right now may not be as clear as when I start speaking it clearly and cleanly. The algorithm will even begin to interpret what I am saying correctly. Do you understand now? So accent is not a big issue. You don't need to be a fluent speaker or storyteller or great interviewer in order to have a YouTube. Now, the third thing is they say that you need a big niche in order to succeed. The truth is you don't need a big niche in order to succeed. You can have a very tiny niche. I saw someone some days ago, the person has only 300 and something subscribers, but you know the niche the person is in? The person is in horse. That is, the person's channel is about horse, what you call donkey. That's what the person's channel is about. But you know the interesting thing? The person's channel is bringing her more physical clients than anything else she's doing. And by the way, she doesn't have up to 500 subscribers yet. Do you get that now? So you don't have to have a big niche in order to succeed. You can have a tiny niche and serve that tiny niche very, very well. Number 4, which is the last one, they will tell you, some people may tell you, and you may have even believed that you can't make money unless you have big listenership or viewership. Well, the truth is, having big listenership, having big viewership can increase the amount of money you make, but it doesn't mean that you can't make money unless you have those things. For example, on my own personal channel, I have less than 600 subscribers. But you know that I've made money from the people who are watching my video who speak to me personally. But I don't have a lot of subscribers yet. If you are waiting to have big number before you monetize, because you can actually make money in different ways. As I mentioned earlier on, you can make money from a program, you can make money from service that you offer, you can make money from maybe a product that you create. The only way you need big listenership or big viewership for is sponsorship, and that is what AdSense does. That is when you need to reach 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours on YouTube in order to be monetized. But before you get to that, you can make money from the 3 other ways. So, for example, you can do affiliate marketing from the start. Audacity2Lead, we got off with affiliate marketing, and for information, Amazon has made us some money. So you don't have to have big viewership or big listenership in order to get started. And as I said earlier on, this entire training, this workshop, today's workshop has been brought to you by Podcast and Profit Workshop. Now, this is a boot camp that we are going to be having the next couple of days. It's going to be starting in the next couple of days, but of course, you'll get to know the dates by the time we meet on Monday. Now, YouTube and Podcast Profit Bootcamp helps you create automated leads and revenue for your business while building your brand using video podcasts. And when I say video podcast, I mean videos and podcasts. It's going to be a 3-weekend bootcamp, and that's the reason why it's a bootcamp. Why it's not an online course? Because I don't want to ram another online course down your neck. It's not an online course, so it's not like you can go to a website and go and register for it right now. It's a bootcamp because we are going to get to work together more personally. So I am going to be there. You are going to be there. We are going to be working together, correcting everything you need to correct on your channel, correcting everything you need to correct, structuring your content, producing it so that you can begin to use it as podcasts. All of that is what we are going to be covering in YouTube and Podcast Profit Bootcamp. Is going to be really it's going to be detailed, and let me show you some of the things that you get to learn from the bootcamp. Let me show you some of the things that you get to learn from this bootcamp. So here we go. So for week 1, we'll cover how to record and edit your YouTube videos so that you can keep audience retention, so you can keep people engaged. We'll talk about content creation toolbox, which is how to never run out of what to say, what to sell, or what to share. And the idea of content creation toolbox, we'll touch on it in the next live workshop on Monday. What we are going to do is the idea of content creation is you are going to be creating content in such a way that you won't need to always look for content to create. You are going to work on a single body of content. This single body of content will now manifest itself in different ways, different content that you create, but it's the same body of knowledge. So if somebody listens to episode 51 and goes back to episode 1, there's a correlation between all of those episodes. So rather than scatter content up and down like many people do, which I've seen a lot of people do anyway, so they do this content, do another content, do this content. I know somebody whose channel is 1K subscribers and is no, I think it's a lady. She's 1,000 subscribers, but the videos on her channel are totally unrelated to what she wants to do. So because you know the reason why, because the videos were just happenstance, they were not planned. So you would get to learn how to edit with Fomora as well, how to get more views and subscribers organically without paid ads, how to create professional YouTube thumbnails with Canva. We're going to go into that. We're going to talk about how to structure your video. We're going to look at personalized help and review. Remember, I said it's not an online course. So this one is we are doing it together. So we are creating the content and you are creating the content instantly. You are working out, you are learning how to edit while I'm showing you how to edit myself. So I'm going to actually edit video right in your phone. So you watch how I do mine. You see how I create my thumbnails. A lot of people have been telling me that my thumbnails are very, very powerful. You see how I do that and how you can do it with Canva as well. And week 2, we'll go into how to now take those videos that you have created and turn it into podcasts. So we'll look at how to set up, how to record, and how to edit your podcast from your YouTube videos in week 2. And then we'll talk about podcast SEO. Now, you remember earlier on, I showed you that my podcast. So let me show you my podcast so that you understand what I mean by podcast SEO. If you Google, here is my podcast showing up on Google, and the name of my podcast is not Nigerian Podcaster. But because my podcast has been optimized in such a way that even when Nigeria is not in the title or in any content, Nigeria Podcaster I can still rank for anybody who searches for anything related to podcast or Nigeria from Nigeria. I can still rank for that. So I'm going to show you how to do podcast SEO as well, so that you can always do that. Then how to add soundtracks and edit your your podcast on your phone. I recently stumbled on an app that allows you to edit your podcast. That is, the app allows you to turn your YouTube videos into an audio on your phone, and you can do it plainly with just your phone. How to get soundtracks? Of course, I'm going to share with you my own archive of soundtracks, many that I bought that you can use. And we also get into personalized help and review. So that is what we are going to be looking at with YouTube and Podcast Profits Workshop. Again, this is bootcamp. Again, this is not an online course, so it's not like you can go right now to go and enroll in it. But of course, by the time we meet next week, by the time we meet on Monday, which is just 3 days from now, I'm going to share with you how to enroll in it. As at right now, it is not open for enrollment yet. It's going to be opened by the time we come together on Monday. That is when you are going to know when it's going to be opened. So if you want to begin to use podcast and YouTube to create profit for your own business, you will want to do yourself a favor by ensuring that you join this bootcamp. And again, the reason why it's a bootcamp is because it's a bootcamp. We get into the I've forgotten the way they used to call it. We get into the gutter, we get into the mud, we get into the work, we get into it, we actually work it. I remember Shegun, when I showed Shegun something about how to optimize video, and it was like, that sounds like magic. But it took me many months. I watched a lot of videos, but those videos did not help me understand what I was doing. So it began to, I was able to crack that code by testing. So I'll produce this video, I'll check the results, I'll produce the next video, I'll test, I'll produce the next video, I'll test, I'll produce the next video. That was how I was able to come up with my own solutions when it comes to YouTube and podcast. And by the way, in case you need to also know, the other reason why I'm doing this is not just because it's something we want to do. I need to also help you understand that this is a service that our company also offers. We offer this as a service at Audacity2Lead. In fact, let me show you some of the, so that you see how this works with us. So for example, this is how so when we are doing service charge, then we are setting up podcast for someone, this is how much it is. As you can see, I'm even covering it because I don't want to show you, because I don't want you to see how much it is. But you can see it is in 6 figures when we do initial setup, and then this is how much people pay us per month in order for us to help them manage their podcast every month. And we only manage 4 episodes per month. And that's for podcast too. So we help them do SEO, we help them do website integration, we create Instagram shareable clips from the podcast. All of this we manage for people. And here is the other part where he has to do with podcast. So we still with video, we do video production for people and we manage YouTube channels for people. So I am not teaching you from somebody who has read from books or watched plenty of videos. I am putting all of this together because this is something we do. This is something we offer as a service as a company. As you can see, this is our pricing table. And these videos are not full YouTube videos. These videos are basically edited videos. They are more like 60 to less than 5 minute videos that we produce for people. And this is, if you're getting 4 videos, this is how much you are paying. If you're getting 3 videos, this is how much you are paying. If you're getting 35, if you're getting 2 videos per month, this is how much you are doing. And this does not even record, it include recording. We just produce for people. So I'm not doing this from the point of just wanting to talk and talk and talk and talk. It's because this is something we do as a service. This is something we do as a company. And I am even more excited right now because Shogunako is one of our clients. So he's here right now. So he's here right now. So if you can attest to that, we produce all of their companies' video adverts. So this is something we do. And this is something that we have done since last 2019 till now. And so everything I'm going to be teaching is going to be coming from a place of experience, a place of practice. So I'm going to be breaking everything down to something you can begin to use. And that's why it's a boot camp. That's why it's not an online course. Personally, I'm not a fan of online courses anymore. I know people who are campaigners, who are advocates for online course. But personally, I know how online course plays out in a system. Online course is not the most important thing at the beginning, which is why I'm not focusing on creating it as an online. Of course, I can actually have sat down and created it as an online course and just said that you should go and take the course. And whether you complete it or not, it does not concern me. But I'm not a fan of people starting online courses because actually the best online course that is completed only has 67% completion rate. That's the best online course. And in fact, I can show you Udemy. The best online courses on Udemy that are completed are only 67% completion rate. So what about the remaining 33% that are not completed? So that's why I prefer to go the route of using a bootcamp, because with a bootcamp, you are not taking a course that is recorded. We are doing it together. So you are watching as I'm doing it, and you are doing it and showing your own screen, and we are going back and forth. So as a bootcamp, it also allows me to pay attention to everybody. And this is the first time we are doing it. So if you get into YouTube and podcast profit bootcamp, what you get to enjoy is you get to enjoy the benefit of being one of the first persons who join this bootcamp. So that's one of the benefits you get to enjoy. So you get to enjoy full-blown attention. If we now turn it into an online course and later, because I'm a systems thinker, so I always think in terms of systems, systemizing things. For example, the Canva course that our company does, where I teach people how to do design, the Canva course, after we did it for 2 years, I just knew that, okay, it's time to move on from Canva. And so we systemize it. How did we systemize it? We simply turn it to an online course. And so now, if anybody is interested in learning Canva, they get to learn Canva from the online course. Now, by the time we come for that, by the time we come on Monday as well, I'm also going to give some people the opportunity to win a free full tuition, fully paid access to our Creating Persuasive PowerPoint Presentations course. Now, the course itself is available on our website right now. So you can go to our website and go and take the course, available at member.audacity2lead.com. You can go there right now and take the course. But we are giving it to 2 persons for free on Monday. So you would need to be available on Monday in order to be a part of that. So that is that. I will tell you more details on YouTube and Podcast Profit Bootcamp by the time we meet on Monday. So Shegun says that, can one do the YouTube part of the workshop alone? Well, because it's a boot camp, how do you want me to answer now? You may not be able to do that alone. You may not be able to do that alone, because this time around you are not learning podcasting. You are learning how to create videos as a primary content that is going to now, there's something called repurposing content. So this time around you are repurposing, but you are repurposing intelligently. So you are repurposing in a way that anybody who's listening to the podcast is not getting to hear that this is a video that you recorded, even though some of my own current podcasts were done that way. But I've learned that when you are recording it, best to record it for video, and then to know that you are going to be using it for audio. So with that consciousness, with the way the video is going to be structured, it's going to take a different turn from this. So you can take the class. You are going to enjoy it. In fact, you are going to even improve your skills at editing podcasts as well, because I know you currently run a podcast as well. So thank you for that question. So at this point, if you have any questions you would like to ask, the well recommended, I believe, is for the video production parts. Thank you very much for that. Oh, Robert says my wife always accuses me of changing voices too. Becky says mine is not comfortable on camera, so you're not comfortable on camera. Very good. You can check our video here on Audacity2Lead for a video on how to become more comfortable on camera. It actually shows you a scientific way to improve your comfortability on camera. That is not like the regular thing that they will tell you to record in landscape or record in portrait or do this or do that or add filters. That's not what the video teaches you. So you may want to check that. So at this point, I'm going to ask, do you have any questions you would want me to answer for you? Let me know if there are questions that you would want me to answer right about now. So do you have questions? Are there questions you would want me to answer for you? Let me know right now so that I can answer that right about now. So I'm checking the comments right now. So Ima says, will I need a professional camera? I usually have issues with video space. Okay, if I get it correctly, you mean that will you need a professional camera because you usually have issues with video space. I need to understand video space very well, but you won't need professional camera to do this. For example, as I said earlier on, 90% of my videos are done with this phone in my hand here. That is how I do my videos. I still have the dream of owning a camera. By the way, my birthday is in 6 days' time, and I'm looking for who will gift me a camera, a mirrorless camera to be specific. That's what I'm looking for. But if it doesn't come, I don't have to wait for the camera. Do you get it? I don't have to wait for camera in order to do videos. So how to use your phone is what I'm going to be showing you, not how to use a video camera. So it's basically how to master your mobile for video creation. So how you to do clean video recording, how to get good audio sound with your own video. For example, this is a mic that I use. I use this mic. This is Boya Lav mic, and this is another Boya mic. You can see I have 2 of them. In case this one does not work, this one will work. So what I'm going to be showing you is how to do it with your phone. So even if you don't, of course, almost everybody has a laptop. Almost everyone has a laptop. So we are going to be using your video as a primary recording mode, as a recording source, but it's going to be finished on your laptop. But even if you don't have a laptop anyway, you will still be able to do it on your phone. And interestingly, the software for editing, you will also, I don't want to make a promise that I may not be able to fulfill. I don't want to make a promise I won't be able to fulfill. But I'm going to see, okay, I think I still have the access. I still have access to, okay. I'm going to give you a code that will allow you to use Filmora, for example. You can use it for 3 months for free without any watermark. So I have a code that you can use for that as well. A coupon code that you can use for that as well. It's going to allow you to create an account with Filmora, and you'll be able to use Filmora to edit for 3 months for free. Shegun says to receive the camera. I receive it. Emmanuel says video space on my phone. Well, what I do is once I'm done with the video, once I record the video, I transfer all the video to my laptop. That is when I'm transferring, I'm cutting it off my phone, pasting it on my laptop. So many of the videos I record are no longer available on my phone as video. But of course, sometimes when I want to upload and I don't have time to do it on my laptop, I simply load the edited video back on my phone and use my phone to upload on YouTube. So there are videos I've uploaded on YouTube with just my phone. I didn't even have time to access my laptop. So that is what we're going to be doing. So it says, okay, cool. Yeah, that is right. So if you have any other questions that you would like me to answer right now, please ask right away so that we can take in that. And also remember that by the time we meet on Monday is how many days away? That's 3 days away. At the time we will meet then, I'm going to talk more about YouTube and podcast profit bootcamp, how to create automated leads and revenue for your business while building your brand using video podcasts. So we're going to get into that and how you can conduct interviews, how you can do interviews without necessarily having to see anybody in their houses. Of course, you know that Zoom can allow you to do that, even though Zoom is a lot limited. So you can use tools like StreamYard. You can use the link in the description below to join that. You can use, there are plenty of tools that you can use, but the tools, as I'm begun to say, it's not about the tech. It's about the strategy and the way you approach it. So it's not really about the tech. So the tech will not be a challenge at all, but your own part is what we are going to be working on the most. So by the time we meet on Monday, I'm going to share a little about how to create content so that you will never run out of content, but you get the best of experience, you get the best personalized help in YouTube and Podcast Profit Bootcamp. So at this point, I want to know if there's any questions. If there are questions, please let me know. Let me know. There are questions that I need to take. So if there are questions that I need to answer right now, please let me know so that I can answer them. I'm checking the comments. I have just a few minutes left. Once there are no questions, I will just go. Once there are no questions, I will just go. So I have how many minutes left? Just 3 minutes left. So in the absence of questions, we might have to just go. But I hope that this live session, this workshop has been helpful to you. I hope it was helpful to you. No, sincerely, honestly, has this been helpful to you in any way? Please let me know. Share with me what are some of the best highlights for you in this session. I would like for you to share that with me right now in the comments. So please share that with me right now. What are some of your best highlights in this session? Which part did you enjoy the most? That's what I mean by that question, in case the English is too big. So what was your favorite part in this? What's your favorite part in this workshop? What has been your favorite part? Okay, Emma says very helpful. Very helpful. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So what part is your favorite? Everyone that is live right now, I would like for you to say something. So don't go bonkers on me right now. Don't snooze on me right now. So get up. By the way, there's a game that I recently stumbled on that I wanted to play in this. I just said, let me not play yet. The analytics. Oh, great. So you like data too. Very good. So you enjoy the data part. Very good. And the interesting thing is, because every channel has analytics, you can use this analytics to make decisions on improving your video, on improving your content. In fact, you can even you can utilize the analytics part of YouTube to know how to put together better content. I'm going to share that with you on Monday when we meet so that you can see how to do that for yourself. So I have about just some few seconds left. In the absence of that, I want to ask a question here. Have you happened to find yourself in a virtual session like this, and you are waving at the camera, telling somebody bye bye? If you have ever had that experience, please leave a comment. Physically, when you are leaving somebody, you might not even wave the person bye bye. But I've begun to notice it recently that when there's a live session like this, or maybe a Zoom meeting, or maybe a private meeting, or maybe even if a WhatsApp video call, as you are leaving, you're telling the person bye bye and you're waving your hand. So I'm trying to understand. Is it are we the only person it's happening to, or there are more persons it's happening to? Shagun says yes. I'll do it another session. So I'm wondering, why is it that we just have that tendency to wave? Because I'm beginning to see, maybe we need to research it. Why is it that we are waving when we are telling people bye bye online? And it's not like when we see them physically. It's not like when we see them physically, we wave them at them anyway. Social distancing. Very interesting. So it's social distancing. So you are socially distancing yourself, like bye bye you. Very interesting. Ima says the combination of YouTube and podcasts, I think this style makes it comfortable for me to churn out with ease. That is right. Once you start combining the two of them like that, you see that you won't be under pressure, because while you are recording, you are recording both for YouTube and for podcasts at the same time. Amazing, 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 amazing. So this is where we will end today's session of this workshop. I've stayed behind to see some of the questions that I can take. In the absence of any questions, if you have comments or anything you would like to add to this conversation, you can leave them in the comments below. I am personally here. I'll be reading them and I'll be attending to them one after the other. If you have loved this session so far, you have the permission to share it with anybody you want to share it with right now. In fact, if you want to embed it on the website, you are free to do that. So you are free to share it with anyone right now, so that they can begin to take advantage of this new rising trend of video podcast. Is currently rising and people are beginning to enjoy it. But the question is your business also going to be part of those who will enjoy it? It's all up to you. I am Daya Samuel, and this is Audacity2Lead TV, where we give you the courage and the necessary insights you need to lead your life and business in the direction that matters most to you. I hope I've been able to do that with this particular workshop. If I have done so, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done that already, and leave me a comment. Give this video a like, share it with somebody, and let me know how helpful it has been to you. I'll see you by the time we come together on Monday. See you then. Funsho says I like the stats and the U part. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you very, very much. I'll see you on Monday. So let's keep a date on Monday, 12 p.m. on Monday. We'll do the part 2 of this workshop. Okay. By that time, we'll get into granular details, some things that you can begin to work with. Okay. A pity I have to go as duty cause a hope of catching up later. Of course, the next session is Monday. You won't. Oh, if you look, wow, thank you very much. I didn't know that you were here. Wow, thank you very, very much. Good to have you here. Thank you. So with that, I'm saying bye-bye the third time. Why am I talking bye-bye many times like a preacher? A preacher tends to say, this is the end of the service like 5 times before they actually stop preaching.